Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Gentlemen,
Adam,
post-Christmas, how we feeling?
not as hungover as I was yesterday, so that's good. Tired.
We were talking about this before the show. For Jassy and I, drunk at Christmas was not a thing.
Nope.
Like, never was a thing.
No.
And Steve, this is a fairly new thing for you.
It is a new thing because I never did it. Mm-hmm. On the Italian side, you maybe have maybe a liqueur, maybe a glass of wine or two. You still one of you drives, the other doesn't. Mm-hmm. Still safe.
The Italians play it responsibly?
Oh yeah, believe it or not.
Get the hell out.
Oh yeah, or you just stay over at Nana's.
Yeah, that's what you should do.
Enjoy leftovers for breakfast. So a little bit of drinking, but not getting drunk. Mm-hmm. With my new Scottish in-laws, that is very changed.
Just a completely different experience.
Oh my God, beer, wine, rum, Scotch, Baileys. I think what else did I have? Oh my God. A lot.
And you're the only Scotch drinker in the family.
Yeah, it's me and my older brother-in-law are the only two people drinking Scotch. And I assume the only two people who woke up with pounding headaches.
I'm sure.
Scotch is so good, but just right to the brain. You just feel the damage you're doing to your head with every sip. It's so good, though.
It is really good. Good. Did we have a good Christmas? Everyone feel good? Santa Claus is good to you?
Good Christmas, yeah.
Yeah,
it was nice and pleasant.
What'd you do? Did you see your family?
Yeah, I got to go home to Mississauga.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, how'd you get there?
The GO train. Actually.
Wow.
Yeah, spent 2 days there. It was good.
Well, as we record this, I walked through the hallways here at Rogers with Steve, and he said to me, "It was a great drive in today." I said, "Oh yeah?" And he's like, "It only took 45 minutes."
Wow.
And then Adam laughed, and then I had a resentment towards Adam that I can't explain.
How long's your drive?
It took me 7 total minutes to get here. 7 minutes. And that is because I passed Jesse on the way a police car that got smashed by a Mazda SUV.
Oh, God.
So I avoided an accident and still got here in 7 minutes.
I should be able to legally kick you in the ass for saying that. I really should.
And I also, you're wearing some new bling today, sir.
I am wearing some new bling. Adam gave me a dead watch.
It is a dead watch. It's true.
It's a really nice way. It's dead. Oh yeah, it's very dead.
Okay.
So this is not a Christmas gift. Adam bought this for my wedding, which, by the way, was in 2014.
Yes.
And he kept meaning to get it engraved, and then he never did. So now now it's a watch that doesn't tell time.
That's right. I got you the real life Infinity watch. Yeah. For our real life Levi Maestro.
Except mine has hands, though.
You should have engraved Levi.
Oh my God, can you imagine? I wreck a perfectly good expensive watch.
Yep, just for a joke.
Well,
this syncs up so well with my wrist.
By the way, if you want a good time, you should check out his Twitter account. Mm-hmm. As in, like, people have been sending, I guess people have discovered Levi Maestro's Twitter account.
A lot of inspiration.
One of the tweets I got was, "How much art is in your art?"
Oh my God.
How much art?
What does he do?
Anyway, let's talk about hockey. And you know what? Unfortunately, we've got the World Junior Championship to talk about and that sort of thing, but the thing that we got to talk about first are the tweets that Steve Downie was sending right before the Christmas break.
Oh, why do we got to talk about this? Talk about the games. Oh, there were none.
Yeah, so there
were none.
And also, I think it's an important thing to talk about. So if you missed it, and Steve missed it because Steve is blocked by Steve Downie.
Yeah, unbeknownst to me until recently. I mean, that makes sense, though.
You can always just sign out and read their tweets.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that.
No.
I'm not
open a new window.
I'm not famished for Steve Downie tweets. I'm like, oh man,
okay,
gotta get me. And it's not like they're not like screenshotted and just thrown up on the internet.
No one's ever done that.
So it starts December.
I've talked garbage about Steve Downie over the years.
I'm sure you tagged him.
I mean, he was on the ice. He was a lunatic. So how can you blame him?
Yeah, no, I did too. I thought he was a terrible, deplorable person. Like the worst person since Matt Cook. Like,
oh wow,
yeah,
but that's not his fault, as we've learned. Well,
so here are the tweets. I'm going to read them out to you. There's a lot, so bear with me, okay? So it says this starts on Festivus Eve, so December 23rd.
Yes.
First, shout out to Max Domi. Haha, what a punch. Second, shout out to Dave Tippett and Newell Brown on running a great program down in Arizona. There's a reason they're in last every year. #classless. And he didn't write there as in they are. He wrote THERE. So
Newell Brown, by the way, I think I was trying to think of his name a few podcasts ago. That is Matt Duchesne's uncle.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Only Steve would know. Things only Steve would know. But don't ask him to divide or do taxes.
No, yeah. I was just randomly talking hockey with family this Christmas. I was like, oh yeah, Aki Berg. And he was picked 3rd overall. The Leafs also got Chad Kilger, who was picked 4th overall that year. And they're like, why do you know that?
Yeah.
And every now and then a family member will jump in and be like, well, that's his job to know that. No, I knew that when I worked at the zoo. So why do I know that?
Well, because you were ready for this job before you got it.
Oh, damn.
So
Prepare for the job you want.
that's right. You're
Not
ready
the
for
ticket selling at the zoo job that you have.
That's right.
If you're always ready, you never have to get ready.
Oh, damn.
Damn,
you go.
Jesse. Third,
That was a Conor McGregor picture.
that was a meme shared by your aunt with a minion on it.
Share and an angel will appear.
I hate those so much. All right.
Here's a dove with writing.
Third, Peterborough Petes are better run than the Arizona Coyotes. Fourth, I've never played on a team when my best player broke his hand in a fight. Ha ha ha, this game has changed. Or Tippett's an idiot. Another classless move done by Tippett. This really put over the edge last year and made me quit on Arizona. All right, so this is where it gets interesting. The way they treated Big John Scott, I remember watching Tippett laugh at Big John working his butt off, I guess his ass off for the team. I can say
I've
that.
already said ass.
Classless. John Scott is the best teammate I've seen in a long time. My last game I played for the Coyotes, Dave the Man Tippett didn't let me skate for 4 days. Not even a morning skate. Then he randomly wants me in the lineup. Effing classless.
He was a little mad.
Colin Campbell asked John Scott if his kids were going to be embarrassed he's going to an All-Star game. What a joke. Mm-hmm. John gets mad at Colin, I keep calling him Colin, I don't know why, and tells him that Arizona trades him. Who's the puppet? That's enough for now. Merry Christmas to all. And then it wasn't enough.
Yeah, that was not enough at all.
Arizona Coyotes flies Christian Thomas from Minnesota to Providence after sending him down. He makes it to Providence just in time for the game. Christian had season-ending surgery that night. Not fair. If I was an agent, I would not let any of my players anywhere near that team. And to all a good night. And he still wasn't done. Big Rest of the Avalanche has been stuck in a hotel for 3 weeks with a concussion. I wish I knew I would have got him the help he needed. I would have done it 3 weeks earlier. NHL plus concussions equals an effing joke. And then somebody tweeted him and said, speaking of concussions, and it is a gif of him absolutely destroying, I believe it's Dean McCammon, but I can't tell.
Yeah, it's a horrible hit.
Absolutely horrible hit.
Is Downie on the Flyers and the other player on the Sens?
No, he's on the someone's on the Penguins and was he on Tampa Bay?
Here, let me see here.
Yeah, have a look at this one. Maybe it's not. It might even be Ben Lovejoy.
Oh, yeah. I think so. Wait, is that even Downie?
I don't even know. I think it's supposed to be.
Look at it, he jumps into the thing.
So anyway, you'll see all this on Steve's account. Steve Downie's account, that is. He said this hit is what happens, and it's a jumping hit from behind the net. Player's got his head down, and the other player leaves his skates, slams into this guy's head. That hit's what happens when you watch Don Cherry Rock'em Sock'em videos from age 5 to 18. Nothing good comes from those videos. I did what I did. I did what I had to do to play. I still think about what I did to Dean McCammon and what I caused his family to go through. But again, I did what Don Cherry said to do every Saturday night. Just effing disgusted when I look back. Wish I never played. Sorry, Don, but you called me a bleep for wearing a visor and trying to protect my eyes. Sad thing, I listened to you. The difference between a classy organization and a classless organization. I got a concussion with Arizona, and they don't call or check up. They actually sent me to a knee doctor.
Yeah.
When I got the concussion in Philly, I spent 3 days in a hospital bed. Ed Snyder came and sat next to me just to make sure I was okay.
Which is a great story about Ed Snyder.
And then it gets into the other part of this story. And I'm sorry there was a lot of tweets there, but we needed to hear them all for context because he retweets an article about Mike Paluso. So, what you need to know about the Mike Paluso situation is that Mike Paluso was an enforcer for 5 teams in the NHL. He filed workers' compensation case in California against the New Jersey Devils, St. Louis Blues, and Calgary Flames. He also played for the Senators and Blackhawks, but they were not named in the claim. This was filed 4 years ago. It was 2012. He files this,
and it's worth mentioning that. Like, I don't remember really hearing about this.
Ever.
So it is a little concerning that it was not really covered.
Last month, it was an appeals board ruled the Devils withheld 2 documents that Paluso's side claim are and were critical to their arguments and had potential to win them the case. The 2 documents are medical reports from December 1993 and February 1994 involving a potential head injury Paluso suffered on ice, and apparently it was against the Leafs, and the fact that he was having seizures at various times after that December fight, thus exposing him to considerable brain damage were he to suffer trauma to that part of the body. So they withheld documents about this. Paluso was knocked unconscious in a fight with Tony Twist during a Devils Nordiques game.
That is someone who knocked out a few people.
The medical report, to probably nobody's surprise, ruled he'd suffered a concussion. Paluso then goes on to claim that the Devils pushed him back into the lineup for a December 23rd game against Toronto. And it was the Devils coach that pushed him, Jacques Lemaire, at the time. In the season, where he suffered a head injury in an incident with Toronto's Ken Baumgartner. So that's the Toronto incident. But regardless, Paluso stayed in the Devils lineup consistently throughout the rest of the season, up until New Jersey's elimination by the New York Rangers in the Eastern Conference Final. So they went.
So that was
deep.
94?
Yeah.
That would have been
94.
That would have been the Messier guarantee.
Yes. Yes. So
now I'm sorry. Downie brought up the Paluso thing.
He retweeted it.
Okay.
Now he said,
okay.
You know, I do find it interesting. I do find this interesting. This whole situation interesting because I think the two are somewhat linked.
Which Downie and Paluso?
Well, I just think I think when we're talking about head injuries, it really goes to a bigger issue, which is a cultural thing with the game, right?
Yes.
The saber rattling, the tough guys get back up and get on the ice, and that sort of.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, we were tougher than this. Now that's the thing is back in Don's day, people didn't live as long, and back in Don's day, they didn't know about neurological injuries due to concussion. Yeah. They just didn't know. So there's 2 sides to this that I think.
Getting dazed.
Yeah.
You felt fuzzy.
Now, Lou Lamoriello and the New Jersey Devils, in Mike Paluso's situation, took away Mike's ability to choose. When you withhold documents that are a player's medical document.
I don't understand how you're allowed to do that.
Well, I don't think
you're not medical history. It's not the team's.
Well, you're not though. That's the point. Is that you're not. And Mike Paluso could have pulled himself out of the lineup, but by withholding those documents, now if this goes to court, the Devils are in big trouble because they took away his opportunity to go, this is probably not the best move for me, even though this team is pushing that, right? Because otherwise the Devils could argue, well, you chose to put the skates on. You could have told us no, but you didn't. But now he can say, well, I didn't have all the facts, so you guys are actually responsible for this. And that's a big, big deal. And I think, again, it goes back to what I was going to get to there is the cultural ramifications that this has. There's a couple of blogs out there on SB Nation that have talked about this particular situation and how it all ties in, and they're far more eloquent than I'm being right now.
Stanley Cup of Chowder had an interesting look at Steve Downie's comments and the Paluso thing.
Now, we understand what kind of player Steve Downie was.
Yeah, can I get something out of the way?
Sure.
Okay, let's not have the discussion first and then I get into this.
Get it now.
Let me get something out of the way because I think Downie brings up some great points.
Okay.
And the Paluso thing is important to talk about. It's important to talk about hockey culture being messed up. We don't take head injuries seriously enough, that whole be a man thing. We need to talk about all that. But what about Steve Downie's comments that really, really made me mad? Is there any blame on himself? A little.
And I think
Don Cherry made you leap into Dean McCammon's brain, Steve?
no.
You did what you had to do to play. Your NHL career hadn't begun yet. You got suspended 20 games. How did that help your NHL career? You want to talk about hockey culture there, Steve? Early in the 2005-06 OHL season, by the way, this is referring to Akeem Aliu.
Oh, I remember this. This was awful.
League. Yeah, Aliu was involved in an incident where with Steve Downie during practice after the latter player, Downie, cross-checked him in the face, knocking out 3 teeth. After leaving for treatment, Aliu returned to the ice and fought Downie. The incident stemmed primarily from Aliu's refusal to participate in hazing ritual that would have forced him and the other rookies to stand naked in a cramped bus washroom. The fight and the reasons for it was international news and strained the relationship between Aliu and his teammates. As a result, Downie was suspended for 5 games. Aliu for 1 game. He got suspended for that. And both
Why would he be suspended for that?
Because. And both players demanded trades out of Windsor. Mo Mantha was given a 40-game ban from coaching by the league for the incidents, and also suspended for 1 year as the team's general manager. The team was fined $35,000, which in the OHL is a little bit of change. So, again, the coach was involved. Again, it's more toxic hockey culture for sure. We can talk about it, but Steve, you were a reprehensible hockey player. That's not Don Cherry's fault. No. Lots of people watched his DVDs growing up. You know what? We've criticized Don Cherry on this podcast a lot. I almost got brought to tears one time talking about how disappointed I was in Don Cherry. But you're responsible for your own actions. You repeatedly jumped into players' brains, Steve.
I walked.
It's your fault.
I played hockey for 10, 12 years, every winter, and I can tell you, I got Rock'em Sock'em every single Christmas. I did not throw ever a headshot. I never cross-checked people in the teeth. I never did any of that, and neither did any of my friends who all had the same VHS tape because it was VHS back then.
Back in my day. That's our back in the day.
I think Steve Downie, that is, I think his comments are more direct, less, I mean, I think Don Cherry's an easy target. I think it's more of a culture thing. And I think
which is why I wanted to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Because it made me mad that, I wish I'd never played.
Don cannot be the only one that wears that.
And you were an awful player.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking about the quality of player he was. Like, the stuff you did was barbaric. You got suspended for a long time. Why'd you get suspended? Because of hockey culture? Yeah, they were trying to keep you out of the sport, Steve, because you were dangerous to the people around you. You hurt people. How does Dean McCammon feel about these tweets?
That'd be interesting to know.
You apologize. Great, good for you, but you did it. Don Cherry didn't do that. I mean, he would have. He's bragged about it. That's exactly the kind of player he would have been.
Well, and I guess
but I don't know. That made me mad. But now we can have a larger discussion of the good parts of what Steve Downie was saying.
Right. Which is, and by the way,
does that make sense?
Yes. I think it is interesting because it's interesting because Don Cherry was on record of calling the guys who call all the fighters from the 80s and 90s who were filing these
Warriors.
Warriors at the time, but now he calls them pukes for going after the league.
It is ridiculous.
And so Don
deserves to be criticized.
Don deserves to be criticized
Absolutely.
for this. And I think here's the thing. We're looking at a major transition that's happening very quickly in the game, right? You think about the changes that we've had since even the start of this show, the way that even the Toronto Maple Leafs were, they were fighters, they were, Fraser McLaren and Colton Orr.
It was kind of the last stand.
It was.
It was truculence.
Exactly. Pugnacity. Pugnacious.
I think
that should be
a game that we look back on as with fondness was at the end of the 2013 season, towards the end, and the Leafs just mugged the Habs. The Leafs were winning like 6-1, something crazy like that. Mm-hmm. And Orr punches a guy who didn't even have his gloves off, and McLaren's going nuts. Because with those guys on the ice,
that's what they did.
And we look back on it with fondness. It wasn't hockey, though.
No, it was a street fight.
That's 100% what it was. And what do you get for a street fight?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. That's all.
Timeout.
Right?
Yeah, go sit on the stairs.
You miss a shift.
Well, for them, not even.
Yeah, no,
They were playing like 3 minutes a game. They just sat on a different bench.
Yeah.
I mean, really, they're 5-minute
That's
majors
not
for
even
most
cruel.
games.
Yeah.
It's not even cruel.
No, they would tell you that.
No one broke a player while Steve Downie was on the ice. Get out of my face.
Well, here's
sorry.
so the cultural issue is this.
pissed
Okay,
me off with that. It's
I
like-
think yes, and you're right. I think you're absolutely right with that.
Now, does it mean more coming from him in a sense?
Well, that's what I wanted to get to, because people are like, well, yeah, look who it's coming from. Well, who better for it to come from? From a guy who committed reprehensible acts, who is a
That type of player?
was that type of player,
enforcer.
and
Middleweight
lived
enforcer, yeah.
that sort of machismo lifestyle. It goes back to the Hakeem Aliu thing. He's talking about that culture. He's not just talking about throwing dirty hits and fights here. We're talking about that culture of that man culture of, the hazing thing. That if that's still going on, that needs to stop.
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with the head
making
coach?
everyone-
that he would allow for that is insane. But the thing is, like I said,
maybe it's been going on for years, and he doesn't want to be the first one.
Because tradition, right? Because tradition.
Yeah, I know.
That is the problem. That is the
really,
problem.
Not really focusing on the idea that it's a pretty messed up
It's
tradition.
disgusting.
Man, I don't know if I talked about this on the show. Bobby Bond, again, Leaf great, legend and all that. But I was reading his book this past summer, and they realized that, Tim Horton had been on the Leafs for a while, but he was never really properly initiated. So 4 or 5 Leafs held him down, and we're on the radio, shaved his downstairs area, and friggin' put like Tiger Balm on it.
Wow.
Like, it's messed up, completely messed up. But that's just what it was. That's just what it was.
I don't understand why you do that. I just don't get it.
Yeah, and you could easily replace that with, and then we took him and a bunch of teammates and we shoved him in a bus bathroom.
Or we shoved them in a locker.
Messed up.
So it's that culture that he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's not very eloquent, guys. I don't expect Steve Downie to be very eloquent, but what he's pointing at is a cultural flaw within the game, which is this obnoxiously old world view that you have to be a warrior in the sense, and what a warrior means is you fight and you get up after a concussion and you deal with it. Guys, there was a head coach here in Toronto who had a player had to go to the NHLPA to say, please stop this guy because there's a player on the team with a concussion right now, and he's saying, he's making excuses not to play. An NHL coach recently.
I didn't say that, Adam. I think you did.
And I have it from, as far as Arizona goes, I don't know how the system or the team is doing and how the organization's run now. I can tell you last year from an NHL source that it was someone connected with the team that it was run very, very poorly. And
It's weird. Dave Tippett gets a lot of praise in the NHL community. He's the kind of guy, a Gerard Gallant type, I would say.
One of the good old boys.
Yeah, I think if he were to be fired, and it's different because the Coyotes are poor, but playing poorly. Sorry.
And also probably.
And
also a little bit financially, But I'm talking about they're not doing so well. I think there might be a bit of an uproar, especially with a young whippersnapper like John Chayka involved. So maybe there's something there. We never hear criticism of this guy. This is the first criticism I think I've ever really heard of Dave Tippett. So it was kind of interesting.
Well, we criticized them all last year when they traded John Scott. We knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to say it.
Yeah.
We came out and said it. We didn't even have to guess. We knew what it was.
Well, everyone knew.
It was naked. It was so blatantly naked and obnoxious what happened to John Scott. And I think there's a lot of issues to deal with here, but what we have to examine now is the way that we have discussed and created this culture around the game. Is violence for the sake of violence something that we want to hold on to going forward? Now, when we bring it back to the Lou Lamoriello thing, let's not pretend that every GM and every head coach in the NHL wasn't doing the exact same thing in the early 90s. And we'll say that for the NFL as well. I mean,
Oh.
they were all doing it. It's just that this particular lawsuit names the New Jersey Devils and therefore Lou Lamoriello,
Specifically.
Jacques Lemaire, and that sort of thing. They were all doing it, and
It's
I
like,
think that's
steroids in baseball.
So we have to look at things.
I'm a little confused though. Is this an ongoing case or a case
Ongoing.
Oh, so
Okay.
it's still happening?
Yeah,
It sounded to me like it ended
Yeah.
not
and
done.
now it's starting up again or something.
Not done. No.
Okay, it's
It
not
was
done.
filed in 2012. It has just started to move through.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I
it's all
I
good.
literally didn't.
It's not
understand. Okay.
So this is because those papers are the difference between Mike Paluso winning and losing the case. That's what I was trying to explain earlier, right? So,
Oh boy.
now here's the thing, guys. This is a cultural thing, and we've been about this for a bit, but I think it's important to examine the fact that hockey. What part of hazing, what part of fighting, what part of Donald Brashear slashing Marty McSorley in the head is what is that? What part of the game is that?
Well, that's straight up assault.
And
He might have even been charged.
And that's, I think, what Steve Downie is trying to say is we have got to pull ourselves away from this. And we've said that. I think there's been a lot of people that have said that we got to pull ourselves away from that part of the culture because violence for the sake of violence in hockey is just violence. If there is a violent head-on collision between two players going for the puck, fine. That's part of the game because it was a play during the game.
What year I think we've talked about this before. I wonder what our answers used to be. When is fighting going to be done in hockey? When's it going to be gone?
Well, 3 years ago.
Or I should say, because I don't think it'll ever be gone. Human beings fight. But when is fighting in hockey going to be like fighting in baseball? Where when it happens, everyone goes, whoa! And it happens like once every 20, 30, 40 games.
3 years ago, we had this discussion.
Yeah.
And I, at the time, said, it'll never be gone. It's part of the game. You said 5 years.
I think I said 5 years.
And I think you're right. And I've totally
Yeah.
changed my opinion since then because
Yeah.
because of just the bare facts of I could not stand behind what it does to players.
Yeah.
Because
A lot of
ultimately it is a game and ultimately they have to go home and deal with these injuries.
The 10 fight rule in the OHL was big. It was, people would argue it's not big enough. It's a step in the right direction.
Now, isn't it 3 games?
What do you think the
It's
rule
an
is?
auto suspension after 3 fights.
After 3 fights? Oh, I thought it was 10
or is
fights.
it 3 games?
I think it might be 3 games after 10 fights.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Well,
something
that's
like
not
that.
even that.
I don't know.
10 fights.
I don't know.
God. What
Well,
are
the
they, season
OHL
60
is
games?
working towards getting rid of fighting.
68.
So maybe when all those players come into the league, we'll see fighting kind of disappear a little more.
But it's already happening.
Yeah.
I think it's just slower. It's slower. I thought, the McDavid thing, I don't want to say funny, but I don't think we're ever going to see him fight again. Because, he did that. He did the Gretzky thing. You know what? Damn it. I'm finally going to stick up for myself. And he gets into a fight.
Breaks his hand.
Misses, it wasn't even on the guy's face or helmet. He missed, punched the boards, broke his hand. And you can't argue that it was against some other goon because it was against Mississauga's captain.
I wondered now, and these blogs wonder, and we're all wondering, is this the moment? When is the moment where we all just kind of admit we were wrong? When we all collectively admit, because maybe we were all a part of it. I certainly thought that that's the way it was because I was taught that. And I think Steve Downie has a point there. If you're indoctrinated into a particular system of this is how things are, you got to fight, you got to haze, you got to do these things, you got to assault people to stay in the lineup because that means you got heart.
The fighting-
when is that? No, hold on though.
Yes,
When is that moment where we go, okay, we were wrong, we were all wrong, we all had a part to play in that. Now it's time to move forward and look at this differently. Because at some point there's going to have to be a pivot moment, and we're going to have to forgive the old sins a little bit. I don't doubt that Mike Paluso deserves what he is asking for, along with the other guys who are suing for concussion. Suing for damages due to concussions. I think they deserve what they're going to get. But at a certain point, in the context of that time, a lot of that, hiding medical documents is one thing, but we didn't know anything about concussions. So it's understandable that people be pushed back into the lineup because we didn't know as much. Now that we do...
It's not a muscle, not a ligament. Get out there.
Now, exactly.
Oh, you got a headache. Here's
Now
a
that we
painkiller.
do know this, now it's time to go, okay. Now it's time to pivot and just say, you know what? We goofed because of ignorance. Now it's time to move forward. And I don't know that the NHL is ever going to do that, but I feel like as a culture, or as a group of people, the way we raise our kids, now's the time.
What percent of people who say they'll stop watching hockey if you take fighting out? What percent of those people do you think are serious?
0.
Yeah, it's probably less than 5.
Who would ever stop?
Like, really, you're going to stop watching?
Well, then
altogether?
you've obviously already stopped watching.
What are you going to watch then?
We've already stopped watching.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you're watching for the fighting, it's done. Like, who fights anymore?
Yeah, who really loved that Byron phrase against whoever on the Avalanche he fought for?
I wish the refs had let Dion and Iggy go at it last year. That was one fight where I would have liked to see it.
And again, I still
That's
got
wrong, but I would have.
caveman part of me that would have liked to see that. But I mean, the Byron phrase thing, I mean, that was an interesting thing and an under talked about thing. And it is kind of my responsibility to talk about the Leafs. I don't know why I didn't bring it up. But actually, it might be interesting if you brought that up, or maybe we can link to it too. Byron phrase against whoever he was fighting.
Okay.
So you see him kind of go, he swore a few times. He just goes F, and he wasn't swearing at the guy. I don't even think he was looking at the guy. He didn't want to get into the fight at all. And there were no punches thrown, and all he did was grab the guy, and they both, went down to the ice. That was Fraze's first NHL game of the season. And his team was up 5-0.
He doesn't want to get involved.
He doesn't want to get into a fight. He wants the ice time. Babcock's about to play his brains out.
Oh, yeah, and there's 3 guys on him.
Yeah, so here it comes.
Como,
Zadorov's involved. I think it was...
Iginla's in there. Soderberg's in there.
Yeah, I know this isn't the greatest radio or whatever, but you'll see his face. There he is. Hey, look, there's nothing. It's calm down. There's no need. Nothing's happening right now. Oh, I think it's Golubev.
And Matt Martin's in there.
Yeah. Now, wait, though. It's going to close in on Fraze's face. He doesn't want to go. Look at him. He's going because he's gotta. Yeah, you see him go F.
Yeah.
He's not doing that because he's afraid
And
of
he
him.
wasn't even really involved. That's him and Como going at it. I think, it's a shame.
And that again is, we're down 5-0. We got to go.
And that needs to go too. If you're down 5-0, play harder.
Yeah,
Why don't you just play harder? No, we want to send a message that they can't walk into our building and do that. Well, they just did. They just did. So maybe if you want to send a message, score some goals.
Yeah.
That's I guess my point.
I mean, when the Leafs had the 2 tough guys and they were winning all the time because of Reimer and also a ridiculously high shooting percentage, go back, look it up, it was fighting was the answer. But then how come it stopped being the answer the next season? That was weird. That was weird. Are you trying to tell me it had nothing to do with anything? Oh.
Because it didn't.
So weird. I thought we got rid of the problem in Joe Colburn. Turns out.
Yeah, and then we had to trade for Peter Holland.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know.
So the thing is, I think it's something to consider. It's not a fully fleshed out issue. It's by no means a coherent... this was by no means a fully coherent conversation in terms of there are so many issues to cover. But the fact of the matter is this. We have a culture that we've inherited from our parents that you know exactly what I'm talking about
and
here.
They inherited from their pap before him. Sorry.
Exactly.
Yes. It's a long thing.
And it is time to change. It is time to change. Whether when the NHL will change? When the fans do.
Adam, I think you're soft.
You know what? I am soft. I got these pink radio hands. I just press buttons for a living. I don't do anything else.
But no, seriously, like someone comes up to you and they go, Adam, you're soft for thinking that way. How do you respond? Believe me, I combat this every day. I never play the game.
I probably just don't say anything back because what's the point? I don't need to argue with some bonehead.
Though. You're in an argument.
If I'm in an argument with someone who says that, I go, okay.
That's it?
What other thing do they have to say?
See, it's funny. I've
don't
gone
take
back and forth. I've gone back and forth with this because like I am happy just being right. So you're right.
Yeah.
And you just go, okay. But
like why fight them?
Unfortunately, it doesn't end there. Because like let's pretend you're having like an actual debate on television or something, and you're trying to figure this out and prove your side right.
Okay, I've got one.
You can't just prove it with okay.
Fair. So what I would say to them is, what would your response be to the overwhelming evidence of concussions related to fights in hockey? And in terms and the effect that not only it has on the players at the time, but later on in life when they can't keep relationships, when they're depressed all the time because their head's been bashed in enough, when there are so many stories and so much of a link has been drawn between the two. How are you as a fan or as somebody who's a part of a team, whoever I'm debating, how are you okay with that? How are you okay with that?
I think we got to have Merrick on again.
I'd love to have him talk about it.
I feel like Merrick talked about this last time he was on because he loves the hockey fights, obviously, right? But he's got a kid. I think he's got more than one kid who are coming up in hockey. I think one might not be old enough yet. And, you know, he loves it all. And then he sees his kid on the ice. Oh, be careful. It's a parenting thing. And now it's funny. You see Colin Campbell, right? But he had a kid in the NHL. And he wants that kid to be safe. And a lot of executives have kids or nephews or whatever in the NHL. And they want them to be safe. So is it a matter of time?
I think it's a matter of time.
I think it gets fixed. Does it regress? Is there any point? Do you think goons make a comeback at some point?
Well, I thought racism was regressing, and look at us now. So
well, that's kind of why I ask, because, like, I mean, you assume it's linear, right?
You assume.
It's not true.
No, you got to keep fighting until it's gone. Yeah. And not fighting, but you have to keep, pushing the point home until it's fully out of the game.
Is it up this year? It feels like it might be.
I don't know.
Fights?
I don't know. But I do know we have to take a break.
Yeah, sorry.
When we come back on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, we're going to go through all of yesterday's games through, there was Canada and some team from Eastern Europe. I don't know. Maybe you've heard of them.
Western Asia.
Western Asia. We've also got, Sweden and Denmark and USA, Latvia to talk about. And, of course, Auston Matthews back in his hometown, because we haven't talked about that yet. When we come back. All right, so Canada versus Russia yesterday. What we know is Russia's okay. Canada's good. Canada played better. Nice to see Dylan Strome finding his game. Happy because
happy at the Air Canada Center the way he wanted.
It seemed like with the Arizona system that he was playing, they weren't impressed with his skating.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that. You obviously read that somewhere.
Yeah,
okay.
when I was on the I was on Den Talk, the Coyotes.
With Sarah and
that was one of the things that they talked about was his skating wasn't quite there, wasn't quite ready, and he wasn't playing well, didn't look confident. So, and also let's be honest, the Coyotes are terrible. So why not send him back?
Yeah, it's interesting because like some rookies made the lineup. Was Krause from his draft? I'm trying to remember. If Lawson Krause was from that.
I think he was, yeah.
Chychrun is in the lineup, and I think he was just drafted.
Because it was like the Leafs. Like, do we get Lawson Krause or do we get Mitch Marner?
Oh, well.
2015.
Yeah.
Wow. So, yeah.
Krause or Marner?
Yeah, Krause or Marner.
Or Strome.
Every year has a guy Don Cherry
really likes. Yeah. Lawson Krause was that
Ritchie,
year.
Lawson Krause. Who's it going to be this year?
Nick Ritchie was not bad.
Oh, totally. But, like, the idea of taking him before Nylander, I mean, get out of my face. What do you...
So, yeah, Dylan Strome seems to have found his game. It was really cool to see the shots of his mom, like, getting all jacked up when he scored and that sort of thing.
Totally.
Canada's goaltending, though.
Yep.
The world's best name, Carter Hart. Talk about,
that's a decent name. I need an East Coaster to pronounce it.
Carter Hart.
And I need a Bostonian.
Carter Hart. He seemed a bit shaky.
But what about the Cat in the Hat? No, Sorry.
Cat Hat.
Yes, he did. He seemed like a Team Canada goalie. Now, is that him being bad all of a sudden? Or is that there weren't that many shots that got on goal, and the shots that did get on goal were Russian?
Russians do have this thing with shots.
You know what I mean? Like, Canada did play better around them, but I don't know. I know the third goal was a little.
And also, it's the first game. It is the first game, and he is like 18. Like, let's.
There's a weird thing about the World Juniors. It's not just the standard of gold; it's the standard of murdering everybody. The standard they're held. I remember. Oh God, I want to say 2009. Canada's first game was against Kazakhstan, and Canada won 16-0. That used to be what the Boxing Day game was. The Boxing Day game never used to be, they make sure it's against.
But why would anybody watch that?
To watch Canada murder someone.
Okay.
And to watch some 5'4" guy from Kazakhstan take out 6'7" Tyler Myers. That was a pretty cool highlight. And then Canada scored 16 goals on them or something crazy like that. Now I think they got it figured out with you have at least a decent game on Boxing Day. I mean, it's Russia, right? And then you go back to the Canada-U.S. rivalry on New Year's Eve. But it's the standard of not just gold, murdering. Canada did not murder Russia.
Right.
5-3. I mean, you could look at the shots, whatever. Most people aren't looking at that. They're looking at the final score. And the final score was a win by less than 5 goals. That has people concerned.
Against Russia?
Yes. Oh, this is not my personal standard. This is everyone's. Yeah, and keep in mind, like the World Junior, again, we talk about this podcast to people listening. You're in the top 1% of hockey fans. Mm-hmm. The World Juniors attracts more people than that. Mm-hmm. And they're used to watching Canada kill whoever it is they play on Boxing Day.
Well, if it's Russia, have a brain. They're supposed to be a pretty good team.
Yeah, fair enough.
But you're right.
But who looked great? Everyone could tell you who looked great, right? They liked how Dylan Strome looked.
Barzal's, I guess, he's okay at hockey.
He's great. Now, who made any really bad plays? Like Hart's probably the only one you can name.
So let's focus on that. Let's hyper focus on that.
Exactly. He's Mason Raymond on the 2011 Canucks. We got nothing to complain about.
Mason Raymond, who scored at the Spengler Cup last night, by the way.
There you go. We got nothing to complain about, so let's complain about this.
Right.
Now, it is based on history, though. Mm-hmm. Canada's had some pretty bad goaltending in the past, but I mean, give the guy a chance.
So we'll give him a chance. Yeah. Next game tonight, Latvia.
Yeah, and it won't be him, by the way. It'll be Ingram.
Oh.
In net for Canada, so. And now this is the hard thing for it because Canada's got to make a decision so quick. Hart has a shaky game. Watch Ingram have a great game. Now who do you start in the third game?
Well, it doesn't tell you anything, though. Mm-hmm. That hasn't told you anything. Mm-hmm. Like, with no offense to Latvia, they get killed they get smoked by the United States.
This is why I love talking about this sport because if you talk to certain people, they'll make it sound like it's rocket science, and if you haven't played the game, you couldn't possibly understand it. I think it's all just guesswork, and you're going on hunches, just like you, me, and the other idiots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know?
I think so.
That's all it is.
Well,
do we start the goalie in this game or that game? Well, here's all the pros, here's all the cons. And at the end of the day, you're right if you win and you're wrong if you lose.
I'm not sure if you watched the USA-Latvia game, which, by the way, ended up 6-1. But I found it funny. The U.S. were able to score, but it is versus Latvia. And I think it's funny that this physical prowess that they kept talking about with the United States, they're going to be a strong physical team. So it sounds exactly like their World Cup team. They weren't allowed to show it because they were always on the offensive. So you couldn't really. They weren't throwing hits because they had the puck the whole time,
which is great. That's the position you want to be in.
Yeah. So I just found that I was like, okay, well then what? Why? Why are you
I
going?
guess you use it when you have to. That's how good Canada is, by the way. Is other teams are designing themselves to beat Canada. Never mind what the best team available to them is. What's the best team for beating Canada? That's what the U.S. tried at the World Cup.
And it worked out really well.
You ice the best team. Your best team will be able to beat.
I have a question.
Best, yes.
In the last 7 World Juniors, we have 1 gold medal.
1 gold and 1 medal in the last 4.
Pretty embarrassing.
So what's up with that?
The standard was 5 straight before that.
Why have we struggled 7 years in a row when
that's a really good question.
It's a short tournament, man. I don't know. Everyone thinks there's this big answer in Canada or hockey in Canada is dying.
No, that's not true at all. Look at the Olympics. Look at the World Cup.
Yeah, why can the men's team put it together? The juniors can't.
Because they're kids. Sometimes you can't.
Because half of the kids are playing with the men. Connor McDavid's still eligible for this team.
As is Mitch Marner.
Still eligible for this team. And if you want to split hairs, Finland, Laine, Puljujärvi, and Aho. That's redonkulous.
Nylander for Sweden.
Where's Werenski from?
I'm not entirely sure.
20?
Maybe. I don't think so, though.
Werenski,
I think, is American.
American.
Okay. What about Goss just to be here?
French. I think. I'm not 100% sure.
Well,
he's French.
That's the thing. I don't think Canadian hockey is on any sort of downslope. I don't think you can look at that one tournament and go, that's the state of minor hockey in Canada. I don't think it for any team. I think it's a reflection of. You could because the U.S. went out of their way to not select their brightest goal scoring talent.
Brindacat.
So why would that be a reflection on their junior program? Right.
I think Canada was a factory for a long time of really good goalies, and then that stopped, and that became the focus. ignoring the fact that now you're producing McDavid and Marner and Strome and Barzal and all these like amazing high-flying forwards.
Which was a problem before because they couldn't score. They had all these grinding centermen and grinding wingers and put their working boots on and go to work.
The last thing, the only
Rob
crisis, the only crisis that Canada is facing when it comes to hockey is affordability. That's it. Has nothing to do with talent or wanting it.
There are like rules in place in the OHL for Canadian goalies, correct? Because we're trying to develop them. Isn't it only one international goalie on your team at a time?
Something like that, yeah.
Which is good. It's the way it should be. Yeah. It's an Ontario Hockey League. Yeah, absolutely should be like that.
Yeah. It is interesting. There's an interesting back and forth, and some people look at it as, I don't know. I'm not sure.
There are minor leagues everywhere.
Yeah.
This happens to be ours. There should be protection for players coming in. There should be spots held for Canadians if it's a Canadian-supported league.
And then there are other leagues. There was someone who wanted to come on the podcast and talk about this. I don't know, maybe we'll
The pay for
still
play?
let them.
Yeah, we won't get into that now.
There is a junior league out there.
Oh, this is gross.
A junior league out there where, you got to pay to get on the team. This one goalie from a European country their family paid 10 grand to get on this team. They get there, and
Team
there's
doesn't
three
exist.
other goalies
Oh,
who all paid 10 grand each. The team is carrying 4 goalies who all paid 10 grand.
Yeah.
$40,000.
Yeah,
just
look
the
it up.
goalies.
It's pretty gross.
So, I mean, you can look at the OHL or whatever and go, oh, they're doing this wrong or that wrong. Well, the alternatives are far worse.
When we talk about Sweden and Denmark, I think there's a couple things we got to bring up here. Leafs second round pick, Mr. Grundstrom.
Carl Grundstrom.
Not only had a pretty good setup, but with that shorthanded breakaway was pretty cool. Now I know it's
Just
versus
ice
Denmark.
in his veins in the celly too.
Yeah, I know that. I know that Denmark. It is Denmark, but Denmark's better.
And thank goodness that he's a winger because the Leafs don't have any of those.
No, they don't. But the other guy I think is Rasmus Dahlin, a fully caged 16-year-old.
Yes.
Full cage, and killed it, and is one of those guys on defense. You're going to look at it and like, well, 2018, that might be one of the big names that we're talking about. He looked outstanding.
Yeah, I like that about the World Juniors. I like watching players I've never heard of.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
the
how
ones
could you
I have-
possibly?
The one, like, guys like Strome have it really tough because it's not good enough for him to just play well.
No.
He has to dominate. McDavid was playing well and putting up a couple points, but he wasn't dominating right away, even coming off hand surgery, and people were like, oh.
Jack Eichel, this might be his chance to take over in the Raw.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, yes.
I bet the Oilers sure regret picking McDavid. And I bet Buffalo's sure happy they ended up with the second pick.
You know what the most important part of the Sweden-Denmark game is?
What's that?
When you look at the scoreboard, it's SWE versus DEN.
Sweden.
But what are the remaining letters? DEN, Mark.
Get the hell out! Whoa!
The most important part of the game, clearly.
Definitely.
Sweden
Definitely the
says
most important.
Sweden, and then the remaining letters.
Wow, I think we're going to end on that. We got to talk about Auston Matthews returning to
Shout out Reddit. That's where it's
Yo,
from.
I didn't
Reddit.
think it was legal until April.
That's
Oh my
crazy.
God.
We're talking about on the off-air portion. We're going to talk about Auston Matthews' return to Arizona, plus a couple other things like Jesse meeting a listener in a sushi restaurant, and I have a question about a puck. When we go to the off-air portion at sportsnet.ca, or you can download us on iTunes or any other place you find a podcast. It's brought to you by Panago Pizza. What is on the inside is what counts.
That was very good, Adam.
Thank you. I gotta pee.
Jesse and I were just talking about, like, you ever learn something and then just kind of go about your day and then you remember that thing you just learned and it hits you harder? Yeah, Carrie Fisher died.
I know.
Like, we found that out. And then we just kind of bibbity-bobbity did our talking in Italian. And then, Carrie Fisher's dead.
That happened. Oh, that makes me
Like,
sad.
Made me sad.
enough with this year. Like, I didn't want to get on the train of, all the celebrities are dying, or all of our favorite celebrities are dying in 2016, but really, like, I know it's oversaid, and I really hated saying it.
insane.
It's insane.
True.
Now,
The most edited Wikipedia article this year in the entire world is deaths in 2016.
let me ask this, though. Is part of it that there are far more famous people now than there ever have been ever?
Yes, partially.
It's got to be part of it.
We've entered the era when the people who first started becoming movie stars are hitting the age where they're passing away.
Yeah, but think about how old Prince was, how old Carrie Fisher was, how old George Michael was.
They lived hard lives,
they lived
man.
a certain lifestyle.
I don't know enough about George Michael.
That was going to be my next point.
Yeah.
George Michael definitely lived a hard life. Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Heart failure? Heart failure at 53?
Yeah.
I mean, we know what that was. And I don't think anybody who's a George Michael fan or followed George Michael's career had any doubts about his drug use.
Yeah.
I mean, he was arrested for it.
Carrie Fisher, too.
Absolutely. I think the problem here is that, it's the hard life. And it goes back to what we were saying. And I know I hate to pull it back into hockey, but it goes back to what we were saying about the concussion things. These things, life in the 80s, man, everything that happened in the 80s, very extreme. Very, very extreme decade culturally. It was do everything to excess.
Look at the people who died. Prince, David Bowie, the people who were the biggest in the 80s.
Biggest in the 80s. Now, David Bowie's case, cancer.
But also
He lived pretty hard, and he talked about it.
Yeah.
I mean, David Bowie's the first one to tell you, cocaine, he's like, I looked at a brain scan of myself, he said, and he talked about
holes in it.
Yeah, it was just holes in his brain.
Yep.
From the cocaine he had done.
You know, I love myself some Weekend. I love the Weekend, but maybe shut the fuck up about cocaine, sir.
He's clean now. He's talked about that.
Well,
I mean,
his songs aren't.
No, his songs are not. But he talked about that in an interview with Zane Lowe.
That Starboy, I was listening to it and I was, just jamming out to it. This is how I jam out with my head because I'm a 75-year-old white man. And I was just listening to the words. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
This isn't even double entendre.
His new one, I Feel It Coming with Daft Punk. I
haven't heard that yet.
Oh, it's really good. For whatever reason, it came on like Galaxy Music or something that we had on at Christmas. And I said, isn't this song great? And Caprice was like, yeah, is this like a Michael Jackson song that I haven't heard? I'm like, no, I said, it's brand new, believe it or not. It's The Weeknd and Daft Punk. She's like, get out. Really?
Get out.
I'm like, yeah. And her mom was even like, wow, that's a great song. I hope for his sake that he stays clean, because this is what happens. Look at a guy like Ken Caminiti, huge baseball player for the San Diego Padres, and definitely height of the steroid use.
Not a common name, by the way.
Ken Caminiti?
There's not.
Guys, yes.
When you said that, I was like,
Guys, he had 40 home runs like 3 seasons in a row.
I don't know, man.
Big
National League though doesn't count.
Big baseball, yeah. Big baseball name. That guy died at 41.
That was me in every math class, by the way, Jesse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He died at 41. That sort of thing. And he died of a heart attack. Like, that's what happens when you live hard, man.
I don't want to be morbid, and it's never good to predict these things, but there's going to be a day, probably not too long from now, where a bunch of baseball players just drop. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we go, oh, how come?
This guy died.
You know all those home runs that you cheered in like the late 90s or whatever? Yeah, and they were all juiced to the absolute gills.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, believe it or not, that had an effect on them.
Yeah, so the dingers.
Giant now, and they might die.
Yeah.
I think that the saddest deaths are the ones by people who are legitimately great. It's not about a celebrity dying. It's about somebody that affected you with whatever it was they created. And
Carrie Fisher.
And when Carrie Fisher, who probably her storyline would definitely have gone, like the next movie's been filmed for Star Wars, so she's in it.
Oh, really?
Already done. Really? But who knows where her storyline was supposed to go? It could have gone to the 9th movie in the series. So what do they do now? Now, in Rogue One, they actually have some really great facial technology that they've used to extend some characters that have passed away since the original movies were made. And it's actually really well done. You could tell it's computer animated, but it's well done.
Yeah, it's so cool, the technology now. They can just recreate anybody.
So they could recreate her and just continue her character.
Episode.
Yeah.
A hologram of the guy from the Death Star. Wow.
That's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
That's like to the T, that's what they did.
That's
the guy from the Death Star.
That's crazy.
We're in the Matrix, you guys.
Yeah. But I think it's what's sad is that when these people die and they've got more to give. Carrie Fisher had more to give. Prince had more to give. Mm-hmm. Bowie had more to give. Bowie thank God, left us with a new album. But that George Michael, 53.
Yeah.
53. Mick Jagger's in his freaking late 70s. I mean, we had 30, 40 years of George Michael to go.
And this is the funny thing. Well, not really funny, but people will point at Mick Jagger and especially Keith Richards.
Yeah,
look at him, he's still around. Yeah, but what about all the ones that aren't?
Yeah, what about Keith Moon? What about John Entwistle? What about John Paul Jones?
I didn't wear a helmet when I rode a bike, and look at me, I'm fine. Yeah, but
what about all the...
So many kids got messed up, dude.
That's the point.
Yeah.
You can't just say, my experience is that I didn't finish...
We used to drink and drive all the time back in my day.
I dropped out
Yes, but thousands of people died.
I dropped out of college and university. Would not recommend that for anybody else. It worked out for me so far.
I like that. But you ever see that Bo Burnham clip?
What's that?
Where they're like, oh,
when you say, have I ever seen that Bo Burnham clip? Maybe narrow it down for us.
No, I think he's on Conan O'Brien, and they go, do you have any advice for anyone who wants to be the next Bo Burnham? He's like, yeah, don't do it. Like, I got lucky. What are you, stupid? Which I think is a very nihilistic way to look at it. But
well, that's why we like Bo Burnham. He's a nihilist.
Yeah.
So it's sad to hear that she's gone. I took Caprice to Star Wars last night. And
one.
She did not get a lot of it because it's brand new, and also there was a point of the movie where she did fall asleep because we had been cleaning up the house the whole day. I have never taken her to a movie where she hasn't fallen asleep in the damn theater. It's a waste.
Movies are great sleeping places. Just take a little nap.
Because it was also the IMAX 3Ds.
Recently,
yeah,
because I'm married now.
She fell asleep during Guardians of the freaking Galaxy too.
It's so warm in there, and the chairs are comfy, and it's all dark. You just kind of close your eyes. It's beautiful.
I got a great nap during the King's Speech.
Mm-hmm. I liked that movie.
Stupid.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think you're stupid.
You know how
you're stupid.
That movie, they decided it was going to get Oscars before it reached theaters.
Oh, it's like La La Land. The movie.
Have you seen it? Golden Globe nominated. I'm like, this is the first time I am hearing it.
Because it didn't come out until Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I don't understand the movie industry either.
No, you don't get to tell me this movie was good. Mm-hmm. No one's seen it yet.
Because it doesn't.
I hate that.
But don't you understand that it doesn't matter what you think of it?
It does a little bit.
No, the Golden Globes don't care what you think.
Nope.
The Golden Globes care what the Golden Globes think. That's
because
how award shows work. And then people are like, oh, the People's Choice Awards. What BS? At least the people had a choice.
Part choice.
Yeah, and then you realize
and then Justin Bieber wins everything.
Too.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber wins Best Actor. What was he in? His own music video.
His cameo in Zoolander 2.
Actually, we saw one movie that looks amazing. We saw a preview for it yesterday. It was Dunkirk. Oh, have you guys you know the Battle of Dunkirk?
No.
Have you?
Yes.
So that's basically Germany had hammered France in 1940, like absolutely walked through them, and they had to get 250,000 people off the beaches of France before the Germans closed in on them.
Oh, and they were bringing dinghies and whatever boat, whatever possible
boat. If you had a boat, you drove across the channel to get however many people you could fit on it, you got back.
Yeah, and we're talking about fishing boats.
And the trailer for that is giving me goosebumps right now. It's unbelievable. It looks like a great movie. So that one's one to check out for sure. Honestly, I was blown away by the trailer for that. La La Land, not so much. I could care less about a musical, but I'm sure it's great.
Oh, it's a musical?
Oh, yeah. It's a singing, dancing, Ryan Gosling playing piano musical.
I have a cousin who I got to talk to over the Christmas break, and she went to school in New York and is auditioning for Broadway plays. She's going to be doing a play in Florida. I don't remember what it's called. But it sounds like a crazy life. It sounds like what it is in the movies. I'm at one audition and then I had to run to the next one, see? And the cab wasn't going fast enough, so I'm like, man, a cab, I got to split.
They're not a newspaper writer from the 40s.
Oh, she was definitely from 19-tickety-2. They're very talented, though.
And that's the thing, too, is that you mentioned last episode, and I think it's a Joe Rogan reference, which is people it's just decided that these people will be famous.
La La Land will be a award nominated.
Yes.
It's just decided.
And that's not to take away
starring Jennifer Lawrence. Say no more. Is she in La La Land?
No, it's Emma Stone.
It's Emma Stone. Oh, see,
Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone have already been in 8 movies together, and this is just the next one.
Emma Stone is very good at riding publicity waves.
I like Emma Stone.
No, I like her too, but everyone got mad at her, very briefly, and then she kind of went away.
Oh, yeah.
And then she did it right back.
Why'd they get mad at her? What'd she do?
She was she got a role.
Are you Googling that, Jesse? Why are people mad at Emma Stone?
Look up the Jennifer Lawrence.
She got a role as someone who she very was not.
Right, in the Hawaiian movie. She was supposed to be native Hawaiian. Which she's not.
Emma Stone.
No, she was half Asian. That's what it was.
Oh. Emma Stone, yeah.
What
are you doing?
Jennifer Lawrence in American Hustle, wasn't she on screen for like a total of like 20 minutes or 10 minutes?
She was very good in it.
She got a Golden Globe for that. And I don't think she really
you know what, dude?
that.
She got a Golden Globe for that, and I'm like, her accent's not even good in the trailer.
Yeah.
Actually,
I don't know.
I mean,
you gotta crack a couple. Shut up.
They just decided she was.
Alec Baldwin got a Best Supporting Oscar for Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh, and he had one speech in
Yeah,
there.
it was
really
on
good.
for 8 minutes. It was damn good. But
But should you get an Oscar?
Why
for
not?
that
They
scene?
decided
Why
ahead of
not?
time, oh, we're going to give it to the one guy who had an 8-minute speech.
why not? Oh, you got to be in the whole movie, says Grandpa Dangle. You can be
I
in
bloody well stammer. Oscar.
I bloody well
I bloody well stammer.
You know what movie never
Sorry.
should have won anything?
There hasn't been a hockey game for 3 days,
Who cares?
everybody.
Curious Case of Benjamin Button. That was one they decided was going to be a great
refuse
movie.
to watch that movie.
It got destroyed at the box office. Nobody saw it. And then and same with The Revenant. People just decided, yep, that's the movie that's going to win stuff.
I don't know. Outside of this room, I don't think I know anyone who's seen it.
What, Benjamin Button?
The Revenant.
I saw it. It's
Never seen it.
I'm not going to either.
No, don't.
boring.
Don't.
I tried it on Netflix and I got 10 minutes. No, not even. I got like 5 minutes in. I couldn't stand it.
I can't. It is so. And you know
When
what,
turn
Jesse?
it off.
10 minutes
That's
in.
a rarity
Yeah.
for me.
10 minutes in, that's the most action you get. And then it's like an hour of just Leonardo. The whole movie is Leonardo DiCaprio climbing around in the cold and getting fucked up.
Is
That,
it?
like, it's
Is it
literally-
the male? Is it the male $1 Million Baby?
Yes. It's like.
Do we watch Leonardo DiCaprio die for an hour and a half?
There's a movie I won't watch. Because
It's awful.
it sounds awful.
It is
like
awful.
it's Leonardo DiCaprio. This is the camera the whole time is right here, like to the like as close as you possibly can, and he's going because he's freezing and it's cold, and he just got attacked by an effing bear, and that's the whole thing. And then he
but what
finally
does he sound like, Adam?
And then they're like going. I'm sorry to wreck the movie.
He
for anybody
fights a bear.
They kill his son, and he's like. So that's the difference. And then he gets on a horse and gets attacked by people, and you see the and then he jumps off a cliff on the horse, and like it's just like he finally gets a horse, and then he jumps off a cliff and kills the horse, and it's like oh my god! And the movie goes on for you think the movie's over, it goes on for another 45 effing minutes from there. It's crazy.
Yeah, and when he jumps off the cliff with the horse, it pauses midway. Oh, them DiCaprio boys is in trouble again.
I saw The Big Short over the weekend.
Great movie.
Amazing movie. And you get so much appreciation for Steve Carell and how great of an actor he is. And
is actually
They
a
remind
great
me of Foxcatcher when he plays the.
I heard
awful
that was
dude.
a crazy
That movie
movie.
is also so good.
Dark.
Everybody watch Dark.
How
Steve Carell
with
movies.
the internet do we still allow movies to slip through the cracks? How with the internet? Like, why does The Revenant get the Oscar when the internet exists?
Well,
we all
Because
know,
we don't get a vote.
but we can all tell each other the movie sucks.
We don't get a vote.
I didn't hear enough of that.
we don't
I
get-
just heard it's
we don't
time
get
for
a
Leo
vote.
to get
We
an
don't get
Oscar.
a vote.
Well, part of it is you got to understand it's political, right? So the company that is behind the movie that puts that movie out, they are spending millions and millions and millions in advertising. They are pushing the press. They're like jamming the press in there, so it gets all the coverage in the world. And then what are the press going to do? Well, this movie is wow! I can't believe how hard it was to do all this. You went up to northern Alberta and it was cold, wasn't it? Yeah, sure was
And
cold.
then one day
Man,
it wasn't
must-
cold, and that's another documentary.
which, by the way, is called a Chinook.
Is that what
It
happened?
was a
Because
Chinook.
I've seen that documentary.
It was a Chinook.
That's funny.
And the people who vote on awards are the members of the academies who work for the studios. It's like in music, when you're a member of the Recording Academy, you work for like Sony Music. And then you're going to vote for these albums that come from your label.
You know what the most compelling argument for The Revenant I've ever heard was? I was talking to this person who loves movies. I said, listen, this movie is terrible. It's long, it's arduous, it's boring. My butt fell asleep. Why? And they're like, well, the movie was that long and arduous because the movie was trying to impart just how hard it was for Leonardo DiCaprio's character to get through the story. So it was arduous for you because it was arduous for him. And I thought, no, that's not why I go to see a movie. I don't go to see a movie so I can have an arduous, long experience. I go to see a movie so I can be entertained. So that means it was a bad movie and you're trying to explain that away.
Yeah, a lot of you listening are media students of some type.
Yeah.
Please learn when it is time to shut your brain off during a movie.
Yeah.
Because all the people handing out these awards are looking at, dude, best original screenplay. Are we sure? Best sound direction. Are we sure? Folks, what are you doing? Just enjoy it. What was a movie you can look back on and go, this movie has amazing sound?
Star Wars. Star Wars has amazing sound.
Really?
And I believe they were nominated for an Oscar for that last year.
Good.
Well, they do. They do.
I don't know.
I mean, you know what else has amazing
the movies for how much you're entertained.
Have you seen The Leftovers?
No, never heard of
Television
it.
show on HBO. They have an incredible sound.
Transformers, amazing sound.
Yeah.
Transformers, amazing sound.
Any movie where nothing is actually there has great sound.
Yes, because they're gonna make all that up. That's
The
crazy.
Transformers, I'm gonna spoiler alert, they're not real.
What?
They're not. They're a little bit CGI, Adam. Yeah.
Bumblebee's real, man.
No, there's a man in a studio
No.
and he does the voice.
No,
And
can't be.
where is the cube? I've seen it.
The Allspark.
The
Anyway,
Before time began.
hey, should we talk about a little hockey?
Maybe
Auston Matthews taking
about
the face off
that was cool.
in his game. I thought that was cool of Babcock to do
nice.
that. I thought it was cool against Shane Doan, and I thought it was cool that Shane Doan won the face off.
Why is that?
Well, I just think I think it's cool that
I didn't think that deeply.
I thought it was cool that Shane Doan won because it's like, well, the old versus the new, but there's a reason the old guys are the old guys. They know what they're doing.
Still got a thing or two to learn, kid.
And I'm all for that as long as it doesn't have to do with needless violence. So,
Okay.
and hey, if you're Auston Matthews and you're going up against the guy that you watched every single day for 15 years of your life, losing a face off to him can't seem that bad.
I thought it was funny that leading up to the game, Shane Doan was Matthews' idol. When everything that I had heard prior to that game was Danny Briere, was Auston Matthews'
Yeah,
idol.
I thought it was Danny Briere. I just thought Shane
Yeah,
Doan
but
was a
no,
player.
he's taking on his childhood idol. It's just a better story. I mean, I assume he's a fan. If you grew up a fan of the Coyotes, you must have been a fan of Shane
No, he's a
Doan's.
Craig Janney fan, okay?
Keith Kachuk. And
But Roenick was on them for a while.
Oleg Tverdovsky.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Auston Matthews, that was great. I love his assist with Zach Hyman. I thought it was great.
Now I'm trying to remember. This was a few days
First
ago.
goal.
That was the one where he kept the puck in at the blue line.
Oh, that was
And it looked-
insane.
Yeah, it was
A
great.
little bit of luck.
Great assist.
But insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, he walked it along the blue line like a defenseman.
Yeah.
Like a seasoned defenseman.
He's like, let's take this baseline for a walk.
Yeah.
Boom,
No,
boom,
it wasn't
boom.
Hyman. It was Connor Brown. That's why I got confused. The first goal. That was Connor Brown. Downtown, Connor Brown.
Downtown Connor Brown. And
The other right-hander on this
Downtown
line.
Connor Brown to Myman Zach Hyman.
Yeah, Paul Romanek loves calling him to downtown Connor Brown.
We need to tell Paul Romanek that it has to be Myman Zach Hyman.
Mime Zach Hyman. That'd be awesome if he
I
does.
thought it was great that Uncle Leo gets 2 goals on Festivus. I thought that was nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
Feats of strength.
Now, and whatever, Shane Doan scores 400 goals and plays 1,500 games. Can we just talk about the fact that every milestone has to be against the Leafs?
Every single one.
Every stinking one.
I can't believe Yager's
last
wasn't.
week it was like, oh, he almost got his 400th goal against the Leafs. I was like, yes, he didn't. And then, of course, they come into town and he scores it.
You mentioned Uncle Leo. I want to mention Steve asking Leo about Uncle Leo.
Well, Casual
Those are-
Mats asked Uncle Leo about Uncle
That was
Leo.
a great video.
So what was it?
Was it?
Yeah, I loved
It's like
that.
45 seconds.
I loved it. I just saw it the other day.
I loved it because Leo is... That's charm. If you want to understand what charm is, watch that video.
So what does he say?
Nothing. Like, pretty much nothing. But Leo knows how to say nothing and have it be funny and charming. Instead of, oh, that guy's kind of a dick. Like, he won't give you anything. But he's still worth getting on camera because, I don't know, there's something about him that's funny and endearing and you don't know what it is. And there are other guys I've talked to in the past where I'm like, oh. Like, you probably hear it, oh, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there with Leo, but there's something.
Yeah, because you asked him, hey, do you know where Uncle Leo comes from? He's like, no.
No, I've never seen, no, I don't know that. I go, you've never seen it? No, but it's, yeah, it's pretty funny. I go, you should Google it, man. I will.
And it's compelling. It's compelling 40 seconds.
Guys, I want to talk about something, though, most important, because
The milestones?
Auston Matthews...
Sorry, we should totally...
Yeah, you totally hijacked my milestones conversation.
You brought up Uncle Leo, so maybe.
Yeah, no. Can we talk about the milestones thing quickly? I would love to know what team the most milestones were set against.
That would be very hard to track.
Very hard to track.
Yeah.
However, I believe it's Leafs. Also, just because, holy crap, every single milestone is passed against the Leafs. When it comes to Auston Matthews and William Nylander, who snapped a 13-game goalless drought.
What a despicable goal.
It was great.
Really good.
So I'm looking at the top two rookie scorers in the league. They are Patrick Laine and Auston Matthews.
Oh, okay.
But I'm seeing a trend here, guys, that I don't like.
What's that?
I don't like from either of them.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what they are?
What is that?
Selfish.
Selfish
hockey players.
I noticed this too, Adam Weil.
Well, what is it that you think I'm talking about, Steve Dangle?
I think, any old plug can fire the puck into the net, but it takes a man to get an assist.
That's right. Patrick Laine, 19 goals. Auston Matthews, 16 goals. Patrick Laine has played 3 more games, by the way.
Yeah. He's also 3 goals better.
3 goals better. And,
what are you laughing for?
Patrick Laine, 11 assists. Auston Matthews, 10. Embarrassing.
Yeah, and what do you got in there? You got some Finnish kid, Macaulay Culkin-looking kid. He's lying down on the floor to do interviews. Classless, of course, he's never going to give up the puck. You got Matthews, this American kid. You hear what he said recently this week? Yeah, he's never played a game outdoors. What kind of a guy is that? That's not the kind of guy you win a cup with.
But,
that's what's wrong with hockey culture. You want to talk about hockey culture?
Next 2 on the list, Mitchell Marner. 8 goals, 18 assists.
That's the kind of guy you want on your team. Mitch Marnerman. Hey, what's his numbers? Tell me his numbers.
8, 18, 26.
This guy, 8 goals, 20, 18 assists.
Yep.
And where's he from?
He's from Toronto.
Out of Canada. That's where he's from.
And then William Nylander. 7 goals, 15 assists, 22 points.
Yeah, but he was born in Calgary, so I was like, oh shit, Don's talked into a corner. Wait, there's an outing. He was born in Calgary.
No, I think that's interesting, though. Isn't it funny that these 2 guys? I mean, it's not really a surprise with Patrick Laine, but with Auston Matthews,
it's a little surprising.
They build him as a guy who was setting up players. Not that he's not, but he also happens to be scoring at a pretty high clip right now.
That was a funny thing with Auston Matthews. It's interesting that you say that because I don't remember him really being billed as anything specifically, offensively. Because the guy he reminded me of the most, and I said it, and a lot of people said it, was Kopitar. But no one ever really...
No, Johnny Tavesman.
Oh, Johnny Tavesman. Because you're not allowed to talk about Kopitar when Taves still exists. But Kopitar is much more of a playmaker.
Kopitar isn't a Canadian.
No, he's a Slovakian. He's a
Slovenian.
He's a Czechoslovakian.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, and if you look at his offensive numbers, he's much more of a playmaker, but all he was ever advertised as was good two-way. That's what I expected Matthews to be.
Right.
And then he actually starts putting up NHL numbers, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know he was built this way. Laine's not a shock. Matthews, I think, is a little bit more surprising.
People were kind of questioning Crosby for having too many goals this year as well. They're like, where are your assist numbers, Crosby?
Oh, my God.
I know. I said that in my video
You mentioned
last
that.
week.
Stop.
No. Well, what I was saying, though, is everyone is marveling. No one gives a damn about assists. It's the funniest thing, because it leads to a goal. There are times where the assist is a tap-in. The goal is a tap-in. So Crosby's getting all these goals, and everyone's going, ooh, and then the goals are going to go away, and people are going to stop talking about him. But his points will not go away. The reason he has no assists is because he's doing all the scoring.
Yeah.
He is on pace for his lowest assist total of his career.
It's like when Luke Shen led the NHL in hits. Why? Because he never had the puck.
Yep. He's on pace for his lowest assist total ever, but probably his most goals ever. And this is a former 50-goal scorer. And then if the goals start going away, which I suspect they will, guess what? Guess what's going to come back? His assists. Because Sidney Crosby's a monster.
Fun trivia question to ask your friends. And I was going to make sure I get this right. How many Toronto Maple Leaf rookies are in the top 20 in NHL rookie scoring right now?
7.
6.
6.
Damn it.
Matthews, Marner, Nylander, all at 2, 3, 4. And then you've got
Wow.
Zaitsev at 14, Brown at 16, Hyman at 18.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
No Sash.
No Sosh.
Although those guys had a bit of a head start on Sash.
They did. But pretty cool.
Sash is such an interesting player. He's fascinating to me because it's very obvious the Babcock loves him. Plays in all situations. How many points does he have? 4? 5?
I think so, yeah.
When does that need to go up? At
I
what
think-
point do we get a little bit concerned about that? Because I never watch him play and go, Sosh is bad.
No,
There's a couple things
I think
that he
it has
needs
to do
to
with the
work on,
role
but-
he is playing. I mean, I want to
Plays
see
with Kadri.
4
know.
points in 24
Komarov.
games.
But Komarov just got 4 and 5 in his goals.
That's true too.
So like, it's not like that line's been putting up massive points. I think,
Yeah.
I think in this particular case, you got to give him a break because of the role. And I also think
He's either been shut down top line or fourth line.
if JVR gets traded, I would see Sosh go into that role, and I think his points would go up. Now, I'm not saying he's as good as JVR by any stretch or close to it, but I think they would put him in that role.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
He's another one of those guys where like I couldn't watch him and tell you. Well, no, sorry, I was about to compare him to what I was saying about Ben Smith. That's not true. By the way, he just had hand surgery.
Ben Smith?
Yep.
Oui.
So Freddie the Goat might be.
Who was just sent
Freddie
down
the
before
Leaf.
Christmas, along with
He's
Bebo.
back.
Oh, they are back.
Yeah, they Bebo, Fraze, and Gauthier all got called up today.
Oh, today.
But Bozak is probable for at least one of the Florida games.
Great. Who is the NHL rookie goalie leader in wins?
Is it Murray?
Yeah.
Oh,
Matt Murray's a rookie, guys.
Come on.
he's like Cam Ward.
Yeah.
A little bit like Subban too. He had that
Like-
huge breakout playoff. And then the next year he comes in, he's a rookie, and you're like, what? Wait a second.
right.
No.
Like, we're all talking about the rookie race for Calder, like Werenski, Marner's maybe in there, Auston Matthews, Patrick Laine seems to be the clear-cut favorite. What about Matt Murray coming in and just
I saw that
taking
tweet.
the Calder out from under all of those
Yeah.
guys?
Should Matt Murray win
Is he
the
still
Calder?
eligible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
He is a starting goalie on an NHL team.
How do you not give it to him?
Who was the last?
Not only on an NHL team, but a team that will probably go all the way.
You see, the
Knock on
problem
wood.
with being a goalie winning the Vezina is you need to be particularly spectacular. You need
Calder.
to be. Sorry?
This is a Calder.
You said Vezina.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. You got to basically have Vezina-like numbers to win the Calder as a goalie. Steve Mason, the year he won it,
Obnoxious.
he was like a 930 goalie.
I'm just saying, might happen.
Raycroft, too. Damn. Raycroft, the year he won the Calder, was spectacular. And there's another guy who had previous NHL games under his belt, too. And then he got hurt, and for some reason,
Traded to the Leafs. And let's not get into that depression. What up, Jesse? What do you have? Did you have something?
No.
Oh, I
I
thought
was
you
looking
did.
through goalies who's won the Calder. We got Mason, Raycroft, Nabokov, Brodeur, Belfour.
Man, those are some old names.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Jesse, you met a listener in a sushi restaurant?
I did. So there's my favorite sushi place in Toronto.
So this wasn't in Vancouver.
No. It's at like Yonge and Wellesley, I want to say. So I go in there, I go and pick up my sushi order. And then this girl's there with like 2 of her other friends. And then I was like, hey, I'm here for to pick up my order. And then I guess she hears my voice. And she's like, are you on a podcast? And I'm like, yeah. And then her friend's like asking, oh, who is this dude? And she's like, nothing. It's just this dumb podcast I listen to. And she runs out. I have never seen someone more embarrassed
That they
to
recognized
tell
you?
their friends that they listen to us. She refused. I was like, "Oh, hey, do you want to talk about?" She's like, "No, I'm good." And then they scurried out of there.
Honestly, there's something that's still embarrassing about podcast for some reason. You say the word podcast,
And
people
hockey podcast.
and people are like, "Oh,
Her specific words are, "No, he's no one, just some dumb podcast I listen to." She didn't want to name it to her friends.
yeah,
and
well, you're
tell
a
her
dumb
anything
podcast
about
too."
it.
Jesse, you are talking about a phenomenon that I love, though. Is because I love meeting the listeners, but sometimes you meet listeners with their friends, and their friends have no idea who,
Yes.
Yeah.
what your
And
podcast
now's
is or
her
who you are.
situation.
And it's funny. I always love the friends' reaction because they usually look at you like you're from outer space, like you just got out of prison or something. But I really love the curious friend. So what's this guy's deal?
Yeah, and
ever
they're
do
always
that?
like
What's
super
this guy's
aggressive
deal?
about it. Like, "Oh, you think you're a big deal?" And they ask you questions like, "Yeah, so what do you do? Oh yeah, what? Who you had on? How
work
many
at-
listeners you get?"
Oh, you work at Sportsnet? Yeah. Oh, how tall is Ivan Kosmak? What? Tall. First of all, hi, I'm Steve.
Yeah, yeah.
I
second
mean,
tall.
let's start there. Oh, you work at Sportsnet? Introduce me to Caroline Cameron. I can't just do that, sir. I can't just.
I don't know Caroline on that level, though she is very nice.
Yeah. They never ask about Ken Reed.
Lost cause, I would say.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're like, hey, can you hook me up, with Carolyn Cameron? And I tell him, out of here, boy! Adam doesn't know what I'm talking about.
I still haven't listened. Hey, question for you guys. Remember that there was a listener that sent us a puck that they caught at a game.
They did?
And we signed it, and they asked us to send it back.
Have we not done that?
I've been cleaning out my house, and I found the puck.
No,
Oh
you
my
bought them a
God.
new one, though.
I bought them a new one?
Yeah, and we sent it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I found their puck.
Yeah, because it wasn't a puck they caught. They just bought a puck and asked us to sign and send it back. And
I
then
sure
you
hope
lost
that's the case.
puck, and then you had bought another one, and we signed it. We sent it.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
I felt terrible about that, but I was like, how very us.
Well, yeah, he must have found it when he... So, wait a sec.
I have literally been cleaning out my house. This is why Steve gets his watch, and that puck
I'm
comes out of here.
discovering something here, Jesse. Adam didn't decide to give me this watch today. He happened to find it.
No. That
He
actually...
lost his gift.
I knew it was there the whole time. I knew where it was, too.
Adam.
Steve, I would tell you, I was honest about the puck. I did lose that. The watch, not so much.
I feel like Russell Peters. Apparently, he did like a Cribs episode, and he had like this crazy watch on. He's like, "Oh, what time is it? Oh, I think it's $13,000."
Nick Cannon posted
That's funny.
Nick Cannon posted a watch once, and it was like, it's $1,000,000.
Oh, and it's Nick Cannon. Man, fuck Nick Cannon, son. SL and I recently discovered that we can find all the Chappelle shows, so we don't have to do illegal things to get it, like we did that one time.
Where?
Okay.
No. Oh, is it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say
You mean you found them because you have the DVDs at home?
No, I have one season.
Oh,
of DVDs.
God, we had so much fun watching them. They're still great. They're still great.
They're still great.
Oh, anyway. All right, and we've got to do a What's Up in Liberty Village. I just wanted to take care of the puck housekeeping. What do we do with the puck now that it's signed by us?
Throw it
Here we go.
away.
I was looking for
Okay,
this
I
on
don't
my
know.
Twitter.
What should we do? No.
I took a picture of the one that we signed.
Yeah.
We sent it
Oh,
back.
okay.
So yeah, it happened. I
All right,
wasn't making it
but
up.
what do we do
Look
with
at
the...
my autograph not taking up the entire puck.
Yeah, but it did take
You
10 minutes to
dicks.
sign. What do we do with that?
Give it away.
Do we give it away?
Or should we give it to the rightful person?
Yeah, maybe they can. They don't. I don't know if they want two of signed pucks.
Why
of ours.
not?
Well, because we're just some dumb podcast.
We're just some dumb podcast? Mm-hmm. How dare you? What's this guy's deal?
I don't know. Anyway,
You ever met Don Cherry?
yeah,
You ever met Ron McLean? That's all I ever get.
yeah. I used to get.
What's Nick Kiprios like? Is he a dick?
Yeah, it's always is he.
It's always, is he an asshole?
Is he really a dick? We should add the next time we have him on. We should be like, Nick, this is the first question we get asked. How do you respond to that? Because you know he'd have a funny answer.
My favorite is so-and-so a dick? And then you start to answer and they go, oh, because he seems like a dick. And I'm like, man.
No, do you want
That's
me?
my coworker.
Also, if I've just told you he's not a dick, then he's not a dick.
Is Nick Kiprios a dick? No, he's not. He's actually a really nice guy. I fucking hate that guy. Okay, well, I just told you he's actually really nice. But
They just want their suspicions confirmed, right?
oh, 100%.
And I think we're all like that. I'm sure there are people.
So, you asked me to do What's Up in Liberty Village.
Yeah, how was Christmas?
Now, we've emptied the tank on that.
Oh, we have.
So I pulled up the worst tweets of 2016.
Oh,
And I think this will be. I can bring up the Liberty Village.
All right,
for next
bring up
episode,
Lena Dunham's
if you don't
tagline.
mind.
yeah, that's fine.
But
I thought you were going to go Oshawa Harmony Dog Park.
No,
Which, by the way,
no.
I told Caprice's entire family to join because they're all from Oshawa.
Oh,
I
yeah.
said, you guys just need to go. Like, they were like, why do you like that page? I'm like, read the comments. That's why I like that page. It's the best.
do we want to start with Lena Dunham?
Let's hear
When
it.
she
Jesse.
tweeted
Oh.
on March 4th, 2016.
Oh,
This
so
is the
they're going
beginning
back.
of the maddening year that was Lena Dunham.
Finally watched Damn Daniel. I feel it's some of the most important queer performance art of our time.
She must be joking.
Yeah.
Also, he's gay?
No. Well, not necessarily. But also, hey, hold on. We don't know. But why does it
Also-
matter?
It doesn't.
It doesn't
He has
even
clean
matter.
shoes. He has really nice
He
clean
has
shoes.
white vans. All right. You know what? You know what? That tweet on its own is fine. But with all the other stuff that has come out about Lena Dunham with the Odell Beckham and the I wish I had an abortion and the other thing, like some other stuff she put, then you put it in that context, you're like, oh my God. Because she seems like a legitimately nice person, but man, some of the stuff she says, I'm like, you're out to lunch. You're insane.
Is she still on TV?
Yeah. I think Girls is going to its last season. My fiance is obsessed with that show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, obsessed.
Right,
and it's funny because it's a show about all of them are terrible people. Mm-hmm. It's like, here's 4 bad people, and here's a TV show about them.
So it's the sequel to Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, I guess so. Because they're all
I finally finished that damn thing with Mrs. Dangle. And I got to tell you, Luke's the only good person on that show. And I know I'm dressed like him today if you're watching the YouTube thing. But yeah, Rory's is an asshole. Rory Gilmore is a piece of shit.
I've never seen an episode.
Is useless.
I've never seen an episode, but Rory cheats on
everybody.
Luke, right? Oh, on everybody.
Everybody.
Okay.
And is just kind of a reprehensible human being.
Like, there's a lot of shows dressed in the Gilmore Girls and Seventh Heaven and whatever, that era of shows.
Bad. They're all bad people.
And they're all objectively terrible
the
people.
Grandma's bad. Kirk has a good heart, but he's a pain in the ass. The mayor needs an ass kicking.
Why is the mayor? Like, how small is this town?
I don't know.
Why is the mayor even involved? Get out of here with the mayor.
And he always fucks with Luke. Why does he always fuck with Luke?
Because Luke's the good guy.
And why does Luke always handle it so
and why
poorly?
doesn't Luke move to the city and find some actual good people to live with?
Another thing is that I made fun of that show, and for the 2% of you or whatever that watch it.
I think it's way more than 2%.
I know. They always end the show the same way. With this weird acoustic guitar, ding 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 ding, and they end it no matter how the story ends, right? So I noticed this a few seasons in, and it would be like a really depressing ending, and ding 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 ding, and finally, like I said to my wife, I go, one of these days someone's gonna like have a heart attack, and people are gonna be like, oh my God, ding 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 ding,
and lo and behold,
Grandpa has a heart attack, ding 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 ding.
There's nothing that shows like that more than people being in hospital. Like,
oh man,
they just live and die off of people being in hospital.
They live and die.
Period.
That's kind of the end.
Jesse, other tweets.
So this tweet is from Farhad Manju, who's a tech writer for the New York Times.
Okay.
He wrote, One of signs that Twitter isn't doing a good job is that it hasn't created an easy way to tweet storm.
What?
So
one of the signs it's not doing a good job is you can't tweet storm? What's
they
tweet
haven't
storm?
created an easy way to tweet storm. Tweet storm is when you be like, hey, I'm gonna tweet out all these things. And you're like, part one of this thing.
Or you
write your damn essay on Twitter.
Or you just reply to yourself and that's how you do it.
I hate when people do that anyway.
The tech writer for the New York Times doesn't know that?
So my point with this tweet is, aren't those awful? When somebody does like a 12-tweet missive and they're just write a blog,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not what Twitter is for.
There is a certain...
I'll do two or three.
No, I shouldn't
do 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
2 or 3 is acceptable.
There are a
40.
few hockey writers where like I've messaged them and like I started nice and by the end of it I'm like, what's the matter with you? That's a blog. That is a 1,500-word blog you just tweeted. Don't you like content? The fuck are you doing? I don't like people who are not concerned with people getting what they're saying. Mm-hmm. What are you saying it for then? You're saying it for yourself. So keep it to yourself. You fucking narcissistic dick. Anyway.
Who's going through your 50 tweet replies to yourself?
No one!
You'd be surprised. I'm getting to the point now where people are now looking at my mentions. And they'll respond to people before I can.
Oh, yeah.
Does that happen to you too?
Yeah,
and that's not just with the podcast. That's like with Kiss, with Breakfast Television. It'll be like a BT viewer will tweet in and be like, hey, I can't, the contest work isn't like, and somebody else will go, have you tried this? And it's like, how did you see that?
That's a little different because that's a conversation on one thread.
Right.
This is you taking advantage of 140 characters 15 times in a row.
You know who would probably prefer you not tweet storm and instead write an article? Your editor at the New York Times! The fuck? I'm surprised that made the list though. That's annoying.
Well, it's just a dummy tweet.
Okay, fair
You're
enough.
the tech writer of the New York Times. You should know that.
Okay, fair enough.
Google it.
Random person, but they receive a lot of love for this tweet. How come I never see guys in zombie horror flicks looking for tampons?
This has made the worst.
Serious question.
I'm not sure what the point of that was.
I'm just stunned. I got nothing.
What is there a higher thing that I'm missing out here?
They think that if guys are going to the grocery store, it's like a zombie flick, the world is ending, that their significant other would ask, hey, find some tampons. And it just doesn't happen in movies, so it doesn't represent them and the truth of life.
Do you think that person's joking?
No.
You think that person's being serious?
Not based on their profile.
Jesse is a pessimist, which I think is great because I'm very much an optimist. But his answer to that question is always, yes, they mean that shit.
You think this person actually
I
meant
think
it?
they're serious.
Guys, the point of a movie is not to be that ultra
Why
real.
are you explaining?
You're right. Let's keep going. You're right. I love you, Steve.
Chris Sacca,
love
who
you.
is, I believe he's an investment banker. He was on Shark Tank for a little. He said, most gold medalists choke up, but I've yet to see a founder cry upon an IPO, though they've worked as hard and are obsessively consumed.
What?
Okay, so you're saying that because when you have an IPO, which
I
means
hate that
you,
so much, by the way.
do you understand that the
When you
IPO thing?
End with a Sorry, what?
The IPO, yeah, and the emoji that always is like the emoji, as in that should be. It should just be like I am being passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's how that. And we get. By the way, I get those all the time. What he's saying is that someone who founds a company works just as hard as an Olympic athlete to get to where they need to go. Now, not only, I don't even want to debate the legitimacy of that because
Why
whatever.
do you need a trophy?
Your trophy's your effing bank account. If you have an IPO,
It's your life.
yeah.
You know
want
what?
a gold star for that?
You know what? You didn't finish in the top 3. The goal of life is happiness, and you don't have it.
You know what? You know what it is?
Sorry. You didn't finish in the top 3.
You don't have it.
Get the fuck out.
Get out. And also, let me just say this. People who own CEOs get work just as hard as Olympic athletes, yet they get paid 8,000 times as much.
Oh, and no, but Adam just did a very interesting thing. So I hate tweets that end with I bet a lot of the responses to that were people sarcastically saying, like making a point, a counterpoint, and then going,
Now, and I don't even understand what his point was. Like, is it that you don't want to see a gold
his point
medalist
was
cry?
he's having a hard day and he wants a trophy. Adam.
I hate when gold medalists cry. What is your point? What are you getting at?
Yeah.
What is it? Well, business people don't, so neither should you. Okay, Jim Bob, thanks for the tweet. Really appreciate it. Back to the social commentary.
It was like the Lou Marsh stuff with Penny Alexiak. I'm like, she's 16, you fucking assholes.
No.
It's amazing what she's done.
No, it should be Sidney Crosby. No. It's Penny Alexiak or shut the hell up, you're wrong. Period. Sorry.
Darren Ravel.
Who?
Darren Ravel.
Hi, Darren.
He is he's the sports business at reporter for ESPN.
The Facts Network.
Who like
A couple weeks before the election, he tweets, I feel bad for our country, but this is tremendous content.
Wait, say that again.
A couple weeks before the election, his tweet was in late October.
Yeah.
He tweets, I feel bad for our country, but this is tremendous content.
Hold up on this. I got a take. I got a hot take off this one. You ready? Why did it take you till October to tweet that? Because it's been happening at that point for like 15 months. We know, man. Are you just picking it up now? A month before the election? We knew that last July.
I need help from Americans because we don't get to see as much of Mr. Ravel.
Do we not?
Ravel.
Ravel.
He's on primetime like every week.
He is?
Yeah, we'll see him in the studio.
With Bob.
Yeah,
with Bob.
Here's my thing with him. Is he kidding?
No,
he's not.
No.
Because he's like a really, is that a brilliant parody? Like, is that brilliant weird Twitter?
This is him.
That wouldn't be brilliant even if he was trying to be brilliant. There's nothing brilliant about that. That's just somebody going, here's an easy tweet. That's like me going, 2016, stop it with killing the celebrities.
Yeah.
Like I said it on the show. I'm not going to tweet it. It's been tweeted. We know.
Live your dreams. Do your best to live your dreams, because there are thousands of fuckwits that are living theirs.
Do you want to?
And your dreams are better.
Fuckwit, over here.
So Darren Ravel's entire thing is based on content and one of his tweets from 3 hours ago was mashed potato eating was up 196% on Xmas versus the day before.
What?
How the fuck does he know that? First of all, you can only go off potato sales, but you don't know what people did with those potatoes once they entered a home.
Apparently, he got the data from Under Armour's MyFitnessPal users. Ham was also up 174%. So his tweet about content being great in America because Donald Trump is president, it's factual.
Also, you know what I
he's being
can't
honest.
stand? When on-air people call it content.
Yes.
On air. You call it content is a behind-the-scenes term that we use to describe things that we post and things that we say and things that we put on camera. I don't think people are like, because it's such a broad, boring term. I don't think
is
saying
the professional way of saying shit.
Yeah, I just don't think.
A bunch of shit.
it's like saying to me like on the radio, let's go to the phone lines. Like, why? What the hell does
Let's
that mean?
get some content on the phone.
Yeah,
It's not quite
that's
the
even
same.
better. Why do we? There's so many things we say in broadcasting where, and I'm sure I'm guilty of it too. But because I mean,
Let's get some content from the phone.
Yeah.
Hi. I just had a few things to say about Damn Daniel.
Damn Daniel's content.
Damn Daniel is content.
It is content.
No, but that's the point, right? Stop saying content. Stop it.
We're creating content right
This
now.
is some really quality content
This
we've
is
created
great
right
content.
here.
Are you content with the content?
It's very meta. We're talking about mashed potatoes. We're talking about mashed potatoes content.
Are you content with this
You should
content?
stop and appreciate that.
This is really good Darren Ravel mashed potatoes, Darren Ravel content.
All right, come on. Give me some more.
Salon.com writer.
Oh, no.
Mary
no!
Beth Williams.
Who? Sorry?
Mary Beth Williams.
MB Dubs.
Yo, shout out MB Dubs one
MB
time.
Dubs.
Word up, MD.
I don't know who this person is.
Salon.com. Writer Mary Beth Williams tweets
crying.
on May 4th of this year. People who act like getting healed from cancer is a personal achievement disgust me.
Whoa. Hold up.
It's an insult to those who've tried and died.
Okay, repeat that one more time.
Sorry, I can barely make it through this. People who act like getting healed from cancer is a personal achievement disgust me. It's an insult to those who've tried and died.
I got nothing. I don't have a fucking
She
thing for
cannot
that.
still be employed.
She is currently employed and her tweet is still up and she still believes this.
Fuck.
Click her article
There's no way she-
salon.com.
Is she sure is she being serious?
Yeah. I don't think she would tweet it if she wasn't.
Oh my fuck.
Wow. Dude.
That's some fucked up content. This is not good
I don't think
content.
we've ever been quiet after something. Have we ever been brought to know, like, speechless, rendered speechless by something? What an asinine, ridiculous, obnoxious
No, but
thing to say.
Adam, of course. Of course. Like, you don't even need to say it. Of course.
And the thing is, they're not even linked. They're not even linked.
Of course. Adam, you're
It is
trying
a personal achievement.
You're trying to rationalize nonsense.
That makes me so mad.
Yeah, but Adam,
Are you crazy?
Now you're letting a buffoon affect your mood.
Oh, you're right. All right, next tweet. Damn it.
One of the other things
Great word, by the way, before-
that's on her timeline is retweet if you're a feminist who spent yesterday and or today in the kitchen. She retweeted it.
I don't understand that.
Okay, you want to talk about something that's not actually an achievement. Just being in the kitchen. We all gotta eat. The fuck?
I'm not really sure what's happening with that.
Should I retweet that? I'm in the kitchen every day. I love food.
And you're a feminist.
And I'm a feminist.
Kevin Rose tweeted, he is a tech investor. He's worth millions. I'm
an
trying
idiot.
to slow down and actually talk and listen to people I interact with on a daily basis. Baristas, asking the name of the homeless person, etc.
Okay, one more time.
I'm trying to slow down and
Hold on.
actually-
Contextualize this person one more time.
Kevin Rose, a tech investor, millionaire. He runs the Tony Hawk Foundation. That sort of tech investor. He says on March 15th of this year, I'm trying to slow down and actually talk and listen to people I interact with.
Pause. Oh, that's neat. That'd be a good tweet.
Yeah.
That's a good tweet. It's a little ambiguous, but it's a good tweet. Oh, but it continues.
Baristas, asking the name of the homeless person, etc.
That's just him going, I talk to peasants. The tweet could easily be, I talk to peasants.
In context, it's like, oh, you're going to say hi to the little people who aren't millionaires.
You talk about insecurity. You know, I'm a millionaire. I'm just like, I'm one of you guys.
I talk to my barista.
I also get coffee.
Yeah! Like, what the fuck?
No. Usually,
Good for you.
Usually when I get coffee, I go, they go, hi, how can I go, and I just hand them a piece of paper with my order on it, and then I turn my back to them.
And talk to no one else there. Unless I can verify they're a millionaire, I don't talk to them. But I got this friend, Kevin, who talks to baristas like a weirdo.
And then every subsequent attempt to talk to me, I respond with, fuck you, Kevin.
Yo, can we just say that Kevin was feeling Kevin that day and tweeted about Kevin. Like, Kevin was like, Kevin, he woke up that morning and was like, you are a good person. You need to tweet about this. That's what he's doing. He's just telling himself he's great.
I'm pretty great, folks. Send.
But don't anybody go surviving cancer now.
No. Oh, those are different people saying things. Oh my God. Oh wow. Who
This is why it was good in the past when limited amounts of people got a platform.
Yeah.
You know what? Not everybody should have a platform. I'm saying it. I'm coming out and saying it. I don't know how to decipher who should and shouldn't, but there are some people that don't need a platform.
I think everyone just needs to say fewer things, though.
Yes, save your bullets.
Yeah, well, because I think if you just reduce the amount of things, it's quality control.
Listen,
right?
That's hard for me to do. I'm a broadcaster with like 3 jobs. That's very difficult. So
Adam works really hard. He's a broadcaster with 3 jobs.
Sometimes I ask the name of the people doing the camera and producing the show.
Yeah, I actually saw a barista one time ask him what his name was, and he said,
Mucus is my name.
We can end with this one.
Can we end? I'm enjoying this. Do we have to end?
We don't have to end.
No, let's keep going.
Bill Simmons tweeted in May.
Great.
May 22nd.
You had to question this is how Canadian you are. It's like, who's Bill Simmons?
I just think the irony of this tweet is amazing.
Oh dear.
He said, the best thing about making content in 2016, if you have
just the mashed potatoes.
If you have good content, people are going to find it no matter who you are and where you are. Says the guy who a few months later got his show taken off the air after 4 episodes
for bad
because
content.
It was so awful.
I remember that getting flamed at the time. Because, I don't know, he still kind of tweets like, hey, he's a little bit of a Kevin. Hey, I'm just one of you guys blogging away. And then all the responses were like, fuck you, Bill Simmons.
Well,
ESPN.
See, Bill Simmons
whatever
could
the other
be,
thing was, asshole.
He could be the everyman, but he is so sanctimonious sometimes that he doesn't.
Didn't he used to write for The Simpsons?
Bill Simmons?
No.
Or am I confusing him with someone else?
I don't know.
I don't think he wrote for
I'm trying to remember. There was someone who was like a Simpsons writer and then got into sports.
Oh, I don't know. It could have been. I mean, the guy's extremely talented. He just doesn't win any favors. He doesn't know how to get people on side with Bill Simmons. He's the worst PR guy for himself.
I feel bad because
he's good.
Is he just trying to be positive there and be like, hey, if you want to write something, get it out there?
No, because when you put it in a Bill Simmons context, it's him going Nyeeh, because he's a Nyeeh guy. He is.
That's so true.
He's such a Nyeeh, and I like Bill Simmons, but I'm like, can you?
How would you tweet that? NYEH.
Actually, good one for the next episode for Thursday. Can everybody give us their best? We'll just run a supercut of them all together.
Just back to
video.
Back to,
yeah, just we'll record them all and put them all together. And we'll just run them at the end of the episode. Give us your But you know what I mean? He's just sometimes, man.
I talk to my barista.
I talk to my Kevin. You're so good. Shit, Kevin. Pat that back.
Shit, Kevin.
Kevin. When the fuck did you get so moral, Kevin?
Oh my God.
Good job, Kevin.
Kevin, you got better shit to do, but you're asking that homeless man and that barista their names.
When they bring the donation basket around in church, Kevin stands up and goes, "It's a $5."
Okay.
He puts
What are
big
things?
$5, no change. Here we go.
What are things that fall under the etc. in Kevin's tweet? What else did he do that day?
Oh, man. He might have held a door for someone.
Make conversation with the person shining your shoes.
He looked his valet in the eye.
What? He had a problem with his Tesla battery and called the dealership himself.
If someone if someone holds the door for you, gently place your hand on their cheek and go, "You're an angel," and walk away and continue your day making millions of dollars.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time you give money to a homeless person, it's a $5.
Charity.
Where's your $5 to everyone walking by?
Yeah, sorry. Anyway. This is Jim. Didn't ask anything else, but it's Jim.
I'm Sean.
Will McAvoy.
Sorry.
Will McAvoy, I believe.
McAvoy.
McAvoy?
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be
I'm
McAvoy,
all
though.
Names, we know this.
It's okay, man.
Atlantis, he's a host of Newsnight at Atlantis Cable News.
I don't know where that is.
I've never heard of it.
I want to say UK. I'm not totally sure.
He tweeted, "Just so we're all clear, I don't give a flying fuck what you believe. All I care about is what you can show and what you can prove."
Is Will McAvoy an atheist? I think he might be one of those.
Why are we tweeting religious stuff, man?
There are certain atheists who just kind of
Just
go
say
around their
it.
life or just go about their life. And then there's the Ricky Gervais types. Like, man, I love your comedy, dude, but you don't have to every 5 seconds goes, there's no God, you know.
Just in case you were wondering, no God.
Ricky, shut the fuck up.
Like we know, Ricky, you don't believe in
we
God.
get it.
Continue.
But other people get to be arrogant and outward about their religion. That's what you're doing, Ricky. Why are you being the thing you hate? Sorry.
Politics writer Sarah Kenzavor, she tweeted, "Hello, FBI." She's written for The Guardian, actually, Globe and Mail. So there's some context.
So she's
names.
tweeting the FBI. Good start.
Hello, FBI.
Good start. It's a good start. It's going to be a good tweet.
That's a great way to get investigated, by the way. Tweet the FBI.
I'd like to report a victim of scam and internet fraud. The victim is the USA, and one of the perpetrators is you.
Did she tweet? Did she tweet the NSA? Because that's the real. The NSA is the real problem.
She said, "Hello, at FBI."
I bet I get "but actually" by the way on that comment. I say the NSA is the real problem, but actually. Anyway, continue. If you listen, how much do you want to bet that for the next 5 years she gets audited on her taxes? I'm just throwing that out there.
I don't know how. As if now there's another conspiracy, Adam. As if the Twitter manager for the FBI is going, "Audit!" Sent an untoward tweet towards me. Audit!
Why not?
Sophia Benoit.
Wouldn't you? Why not?
I absolutely would. I'm just saying I don't think they have that kind of power. Not the FBI.
The person who
FBI
runs-
social media manager.
Oh, okay. Imagine being the guy. Imagine being the person that has to manage social media for the FBI. What a terrible job! I can't imagine being a social media manager for any company is great because basically it's we're too old to know how to post this properly. Here's what you need to post.
Just answer hot tips on the JFK assassination all day long.
Their mention must be crazy.
You did it! And they say we did it.
FBI tweets. No, Elvis actually died.
Elvis shot JFK.
Sophia Benoit. She's a refinery29.com writer.
Boy. This could go either way.
Yeah, it could
But since
be
it's bad tweets of 2016, I'm going to go with not good.
saying Trump has a small dick. 1, having a small dick is perfectly fine. 2, shame his character instead.
Well, she's right. I'm with her on that.
Yeah. Is that a good tweet?
I don't think saying I don't think saying Trump has a small penis gets you anywhere. It just makes you look like an asshole. The same assholes that are on the other side tweeting the same thing about Hillary.
A lot of my questions about these are, though, does that need to be tweeted?
Yes, because you need to attack everything. Because you do.
Give us one more.
One more? Been thinking about the intersection of Selfie and Hamilton.
Who tweeted that?
What?
Let me find out what
Please,
she does.
what?
Her name is Rachel.
Hey, Rach.
Hello.
She is a writer for The New Yorker. Elle and the New York Times.
Wow. So she's very accomplished.
Been
there you
thinking
go.
about the
Intersection
between Selfie and Hamilton.
Yes.
You know what? Maybe I'm just stupid. That's
that-
likely the case. I don't get that at all.
I don't
think
understand.
It's
Is it a cultural cross section she's talking about?
they're trying to talk about modern things that they don't like, and this person doesn't like selfies or the musical Hamilton.
See,
That is
she-
my interpretation of it.
Is she talking about selfies? Or because she just said selfie and Hamilton. I don't
Are they
don't
talking
know.
about the song Selfie?
Yeah, by the
And-
Chainsmokers? I don't know.
Putting that in the... That is a shitty tweet.
That's a shitty tweet.
Yeah, that's bad. All right.
It's one thing to understand the bad point that you're trying to make. It's another to just be completely unintelligible. What the fuck is that?
Anyways, there's some
There's some bad tweets in 2016.
You know what I would've liked?
2016 from Deadspin. Thank you,
Worst
Deadspin.
sports tweets
Oh,
of
that'd be
2016.
Why
We
has
still
nobody
got-
done that?
We still got a show.
Hopefully
We still
someone
got
does
one
it.
show.
I would like someone to compile that because it ain't going to be me. But wow.
Send them to us.
Yeah.
Send us the
Send
worst-
us your worst sports. Send them to
Yeah.
Jesse. Don't send them to Steve Rice. Send them to Jesse, your worst sports tweets of 2016.
You know what I don't like, though?
Damn, I might
do
be
gotta
in there.
admit, I don't like this. Sometimes people will send me tweets that they don't like. They'll be like, oh, look what this person said. But then they'll tag the person and be like, look at this fucking idiot. And I'm like, don't do that, man.
They do read that. They do read that.
They do read that. And like, odds are, got to meet them
Yeah.
or have to meet them at some point. So that's going to be an awkward. Apparently, a lot of my listeners think you're a fuckwit. Fuckwit's great. Great word.
Fuckwit.
Hey,
Fuckwit.
if you are retweeting yourself and
I love it.
you love it, yes. Okay, so there is a certain decorum that goes with retweeting yourself. If you are one of those people that that tweets inspirational stuff that's very ambiguous,
Okay.
are you able to retweet yourself? Because if you're retweeting yourself because you made a prediction, say in sport, in our case, Steve, you're like, oh, I think Auston Matthews will get 3 goals tonight, and he does, and you retweet yourself. Understandable, and you're doing it in joke, like with a wink, right? Tongue in
Sometimes
cheek.
I do it with like an LFR link.
Content.
With my content.
Content.
Sometimes I do it with my content.
Is that the case, Steve?
It is the case.
No one knows that story
Is
yet.
that actually the
Is
case?
that actually as long as that's the case, Steve?
I don't even remember what that was.
That's
I
something
don't
we need
even
to bring
remember
up.
the context. I was just delusional.
The reason I bring this up is because our good friend Levi Maestro tweeted something on December the 30th, 2012. And he said, I don't deserve anything, just trying too hard to receive it.
But
And he said, two is spelled T-O. I don't deserve anything, just trying hard to receive it. My bad. I don't deserve anything, just trying hard to receive it.
Just tweet you work hard. That's all.
or don't.
But he retweeted,
Or just work hard.
or just work hard and let your work maybe do the talking for
Yeah.
you. Levi Maestro retweeted that. That is from the 30th of December, 2012, and he just retweeted that. That's where you're like, okay, right?
Good for you. You should just respond to that with "good for you."
Do you think that he talks to his barista? Do you think he talks to his skateboard shop seller man? The guy that sold him the longboard?
Yeah, and he doesn't even buy anything. He just goes in there and talks to him, so that they.
Nah, I bet
Not so
they
that
talk
they
without words.
Yeah.
We had
They
a
just talk- they just
conversation
mumble.
without words.
After about 5 minutes, they go, "Sir," and he just goes like this and just walks out.
Poof. In a black smoke.
Maestro, and just walks out. Are we being a dick to Levi Maestro? Does he deserve it?
I don't think we're being a dick to him because we never called him a bad person. We just think he's a tad bit ridiculous.
That's a
We're pointing
fair way of
I think
putting
we're
it.
pointing out a bit of a ridiculous personality.
Therefore, making me ridiculous.
I don't think I think we've all kind of called ourselves out for being ridiculous many times. Humanity is ridiculous. That's what we do here.
Man, okay, every episode, there's something I don't laugh at hard enough until I watch it again. Jesse's line about the fucking robot becoming self-aware from last show.
Okay, now you're retweeting yourself.
I'm retweeting Jesse. I'm retweeting Jesse. Oh, wait, no, I did tweet that. Or did I? No,
I don't know.
That was to the Facebook.
I'm just saying
group.
you're retweeting yourself.
Boy, is
in
this
person.
podcast ever done?
Hey, so let's do the press conference.
Oh my God, we're doing a press conference?
Yes.
I hope I get some holiday traffic.
Adam,
Yeah.
Steve said that if he wasn't doing this, we'd probably start a UFC podcast if hockey goes into a lockout. What podcast would you start?
What podcast would I start?
Yes.
Ooh. You know what I'd like to do? I would like to do a show on... I would love to do a Star Wars podcast that was actually, like, listenable. I haven't found one yet.
There's a couple out there, though, right?
There are a couple out there.
Yeah, not good.
No, it's not that they're not good. I think it's just that what I like about this show is that if you don't like hockey, you can still listen to this show. And I think what a great show is it's less about what you know and more about. I mean, it's important what you know, but I want compelling characters. I want compelling people, so I'd want to pull one together like that. I'd also like to do a different take on history, but I don't want to say that because I actually one day want to do this. So I don't want to give up my full idea for a history podcast, but I actually have an idea on that, and one day would like to do that if anything ever calmed down.
Carlin's?
Huh?
Have you listened to Dan Carlin?
No, I plan on binging it over the holidays, though.
Okay, you need to listen to his series on World
really
War
like
One.
Okay, so you have. Okay.
Oh, I've listened to them all.
Fuck yeah.
They're amazing. The way he does it is incredible. The thing is, though, you got to be a hardcore history geek because it's a commitment, right? You're talking about a show that's 4 hours long.
He basically writes a book and then dictates it.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to get rid of that term, history geek. You should want to be informed on what the fuck has happened. If you just called history what the fuck has happened,
Yeah. Yeah.
more people would be interested in it.
One thing I've become obsessed with in the last year or so, and it's because of Dan Carlin, is World War One and just the events surrounding, leading up to, ending it. The World War One was literally the most transformative 5-6 years. I mean, the war lasted 4.5, but
And it was like 50 years in the making.
yes, 50 years in the making.
It's a very key thing I learned.
And it was the end of one era and the start of essentially the modern era we're in right now. Like
Pretty
it
much
is
everywhere.
everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Not just the Western world or
Like-
whatever. Basically everywhere.
Like traditions that had been around for 1,000 years ended. Regions that had been the same for 1,000 years ended. Empires that had been there for 500, 600, 700 years gone, dissipated forever. And the effects of that are things that we're still seeing today, and that I think is so crazy. I don't know. I love that. I find that war so fascinating.
History in university was really good. I liked it because it also clarified a lot of the history that we learned in high school. Because in World War I, they teach you, it was this country versus this country, and the Ottoman Empire. And
they don't ever explain what the hell that was.
I know. I'm like, how about you start with what the fuck the Ottoman Empire was?
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing that I've been getting into is,
And then they explain it.
is the Ottoman Turks and what happened in Armenia, like the Armenian genocide and all that stuff, like crazy. The stuff that we are not even taught. And tell me about World War I outside of the Western Front.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about World War I except for France and its colonies and Britain and its colonies versus Germany?
Is crazy.
Crazy. Yet there's very little written in English on it. Mm-hmm. It's nuts. Anyway, it's fascinating. We're totally off topic. I would do a history and I would do a Star Wars, but I would do them a little bit differently from what they've been done. And if you have any recommendations on a Star Wars one, please show me.
If you're in university right now and you need an elective and you're willing to challenge yourself, take a history.
There were really hard courses to take the whole.
Yeah, they're pretty hard. You're going to take a shitload of notes and write 3,000 word essays.
And you're going to be in the library all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, geez, I retained as much from those electives as I did from the rest of school. Are we done?
Keep going.
Any more?
I got another question.
Okay.
Had Sidney Crosby played in Wayne Gretzky's era, do you think he would be the all-time point scorer?
Probably. I think he would be like a complete freak to them. He would be the most conditioned athlete in the league, one of the strongest, fastest for sure. Probably have the best shot. Now, this is the interesting thing. Does he get to play with all his equipment? Or does he have to play in 80s equipment?
Which is different, heavier. I'm sure he'd be fine, though.
Like, when did Gretzky play through? Like, when's the start of his career?
1979 to 99.
1999.
Okay, so through that entire era, if Crosby gets all that time from 2016 Crosby, equipment and everything, how many points did he score? Like,
It's hard to say because it's funny. I was talking to someone about this over the Christmas break. It's easy to talk about Gretzky's era as being crap, and it was.
Boy, it's fun, though.
yeah,
He had 1,000 more points than anyone else.
Yeah.
Like, other players played in that era. Like, I know his era wasn't that great, but in that era, he was way ahead of anybody. He was the most dominant player of any one era that anyone ever was.
Sorry, anyone what?
He was the most dominant player of any one era.
I'm sorry, what?
God damn it, Adam.
Hey, what?
Any one era.
Any what?
I don't get it. I'm stupid.
Sorry, era?
Era, Steve? This is your
I'm
show,
so
Steve.
sorry.
How dare
He's the most dominant player of any one era.
Thank you.
God.
Was that audible blue balls? I'm sorry. Anyone ever
Steve
was.
just doesn't get things sometimes.
That was a hard one
Every
to
show.
pick up.
Every show.
That was hard to pick
No,
up.
okay.
That
you
was
could
not his
argue
fault.
Bobby Orr was the best player of all time. Okay, fine. You could argue Mario Lemieux is the best player of all time. There's a decent argument for that. Okay, fine. I've seen people say Crosby. Fine. Gretzky was easily the most dominant in his own era, and it's not close. It's simply not close. He fucking destroyed his era.
I know. I don't have any problem with Gretzky being called the best player of all time.
Like
I
you
don't.
look at those Oilers dynasties and the amazing players on those teams. Gretzky was still like doubling them up in points. How is that possible? You're on the same team. You're on the same line.
216 points in one season. 92 goals.
What's the assist stat? If he never scored any goals, he'd still lead the entire NHL in points.
The NHL's all-time goal-scoring leader, if he didn't score a single goal, would still lead the NHL in scoring all time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He's the best player of all time, period. End of story. I didn't say he's the best skilled.
Most dominant.
Oh, okay. Semantics. Best player of all time. Most dominant. But actually most dominant. You're right, Steve.
But the best player of all time was Dominic Hasek.
Steve and I might have a problem.
Oh, you guys have a problem?
Shit.
We might have a problem.
With me?
Because Jalen writes, "Hi, my name is Jalen from Tampa. When Adam came down, I gave him a big bag of free stuff. Just wanted to double check and see if you guys got it."
Well, Jalen, thank you for blowing the surprise because I am going back to Florida next week. I couldn't fit it in my luggage, so I was going to bring it back.
Adam's number one export is excuses.
Wow. It's a big bag.
Wow.
It's a big bag of free stuff.
That's good.
So
I'd say it's about time that you, as I look at my dead watch, I'd say it's about time that you coughed up our free Florida shit.
well, I will. Just
Florida in
Jalen's
London?
right. Jalen's totally right. Jalen, you got to give me a mo here, bud. I couldn't get it home. I was just too much stuff.
You're Arnold Schwarzenegger from the beginning of Jingle All the Way. And you were late for your son's whatever he's doing at school thing.
You're right.
I think it might be karate. I don't remember. So you're driving in the shoulder to try to
Whatever.
get there on time.
Karate's bullshit anyway. Why would anybody want to do that? I'm kidding.
As
I'm
Archer
joking.
calls it, the Dane Cook of martial arts.
The tank. That's a
It's
good
actually
one.
a really good.
That's a hell of a show, by the way, Archer.
Archer's so good.
Oh my god! All right, so are we done?
Fuck, it's almost 3.
Yeah.
This has to be the longest one.
No.
I don't
Still
think so.
no?
No. What are we at right now?
About just over 2. No, definitely not the
Yeah,
longest.
Just over 2?
Yeah.
No. It hasn't been that long.
We
thought it was
started
like
late,
3.
man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I've got a missed call from Mrs. Dangle. Oh, my goodness. She's mad that
what do
you
you mean,
guys...
huh?
Yeah, she's mad that you guys took me away from our Christmas break together.
Oh, you mean you had to do your goddamn job?
I know.
That's what
She's
I told
mad
her.
about you having to do your goddamn job.
Steve had to go to work for the second time this month.
We have done more than 2 podcasts, Jesse.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.